Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Solo King. My name is Reed Rapid Melton. With me is Seth Kilios King, and we are getting into our round of 6 matches. So tonight we'll have a round-robin style between all 6 of the remaining players left in here. We'll go over exactly what those matchups are. We'll see the first one coming up on your screen right now. It's Pure versus Someday. So Naja and EM Fire, the only team to have 2 of its players represented here in the final 6. And with Pure versus Someday, of course, from KT Rolster. Looks like they're already through the picks and bans. It's going to be Pure's Annie versus Someday's Lulu.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting matchup. Double mage coming in. Annie, of course, we've seen a fantastic showing on. We saw Faker playing that earlier in the tournament. Very strong in that 1v1, lots of range harass. Lulu, though, same. Very safe champion, specifically if she makes it to that level 6. It's the wild growth. Enables a lot of sustain in the lane. But she also has that passive shield off picks on her E. So this is going to be an interesting matchup between these two. Both obviously very skilled mechanical players. They made it this far in the tournament. Further than Faker, or any member of SKT for that matter. So we'll have to see what's going to happen when these guys clash. As we can see, though, with picks and bans, nothing too shocking coming out. The Kennen has been having a stomping performance in the latter half of this tournament. But, of course, Caitlyn, Graves, Lucian, you have to take away the ADCs as well.
Yeah, definitely. And specifically against Pure, you're going to ban all AD carries all the time anyway. So seeing him take Annie, I actually saw another AD carry yesterday, I believe it was, do the same thing, pick Annie when the rest of those AD carries were banned. I mean, there are still AD carries you can pick, you know, things like I guess Kallista's kind of the go-to is for a lot of people.
We've also seen Misfortune a lot in this tournament as well, and that's had a pretty good showing as long as you're able to manage the double shot well and get that harass out. And so we've seen that one. So still on the table, but opting to go for the Annie nonetheless, even though those options are about him.
And that's going to do it for our picks and bans. That means that we're going to take a short break before we get into our first game of the night. But before we get into game, do want to make sure that we let you guys know about the charity that Solo King is supporting. It's Extra Life. It supports children's hospitals around the nation. So definitely scroll right down below your screen, click on the Extra Life button, and that'll let you know more about how you can donate to help that out. And to keep up with all the Solo King information, make sure to hit the follow button right down below the stream. Let you know whenever we go live with more Solo King action. But with that out of the way, I think it's time to get into our first game of the night. So thank you guys for sticking around. Let's get this game underway. Alright, and here we are once again, ladies and gentlemen, for the Solo King, a Korean 1v1 tournament broadcast here on GosuTV TV. My name's Rapid, with me is Achilleos, and we're getting into our first best of 3 of the night. It's going to be a round-robin series, best of 3 between Pure and Someday. And if at all possible, I believe my co-caster is still with me, but we'll see if we can get things all synced up and ready to go.
I am here with you.
That's always the struggle as we get into getting into this. So let's go ahead and talk about both players. Pure, over the course of his trip through the Solo King tournament, actually had a trip that was a little bit easier than maybe most people. He played against Raim, the Incredible Miracle Athena player, and of course also then took out Pilot 2-1. But he's playing against Someday, and Someday's games yesterday actually looked a little bit rough. He lost the first game versus Marin, and then wound up winning the next 2 to come back from behind, and then win his spot here in the round of 6.
All right, I believe that I have my technical difficulties taken
All
care
right.
of.
So it looks like we should be synced up at 123, 124.
Yeah, that would be correct. All right,
Sounds good to me.
excellent.
All right, it's time for some solo king. We got wards placed in the middle lane already. Scrying orb picked up there for Pure's Annie. So I really like the scrying orb buys. I feel like you can, scrying orb the bush right before you walk into it. And sometimes it's those precious seconds that saves you, gets you an extra auto attack in. Definitely helps you chase through those bushes on the side lane. The downside of this match is that Someday will be playing Lulu. And when Someday played Lulu yesterday, he sat still in mid lane and spammed laugh for the first 2 minutes of the game. So hopefully he's too busy actually playing the game do that this time around.
Well, so far so good. As we can see, he's just opting to go ahead and CS this time, playing a bit aggressively, shoving the lane up to tower. Now throwing a little bit of harass down back and forth between these two as they exchange some blows. Overall, relatively the same coming out.
Some days Lulu starting with 50 AP at level 1, so
wow.
that is somewhat high. So a lot of early flat AP runes. I wouldn't say that he put blues in for AP or AP in for his glyphs, but at the same time, he's getting that 50 AP from somewhere. It did start with Doran's ring too, which is going to give him a lot more starting ability power than most mages that would start that flask.
Yeah, typically you had about 24 AP with a general page. But he wants to go for that full aggression. Even so, he's not really playing that aggressively right now. He's mostly focusing on the CS, which he's being caught up with Pure.
Ooh, and Pure made those trades in the middle of a cannon wave. Usually, when you're going into auto attack, especially early on in the first 2 or 3 levels, minions actually deal almost more damage than champions. So if you're gonna go in to fight the other guy, you should probably make sure that he doesn't just kill you, flash it through the turret. Someday almost died to that second turret shot coming in, but both flashes traded out already.
Yeah, that's the hyper aggression that I was expecting to see given his amount of AP here. Not able to find the kill, however. Q not connecting now, a little bit out of mana. Gonna go ahead and ward down. Up to recall. He's got that teleport, so he'll get right back in here. Little bit of a CS lead. It's going to be just about tied up as Pure cleans up this wave, so he should stay fairly even. As we can see, opting for the double Doran's ring, grabbing some potions as well. So the staple build coming in.
Yeah, and no flash on Annie is actually a really big deal. Flash for Annie is pretty much the way that she uses her spells, because it's not really a big mystery. What Annie's going to do is oh, she's in range to kill me. I'm not going to let her do that. But, of course, Flash makes that possible. Flash Tibber's great way to win the game. We've seen that actually be the victory condition several times already in the Solo Kings. So, now that Someday, while he may not have Flash either, he does have the ability to polymorph you, slow you down with Glitter Lances, so you can definitely still impair your movement without needing Flash to close in for the kill there. We'll have to see what's going to happen as far as the difference in aggression. As far as the items are concerned, double Doran's versus just one, but a little bit more sustain there for Pure.
Yeah, he's also, for Someday, he also has that range extension if he throws picks onto a minion or even just onto Pure, which will give him that added advantage. So, like you said, Flash not as much of a necessity for him.
Ooh,
you see now, nice harass.
Yeah, right through the minion wave, and as pretty much par for the course this game, Someday is just shoving the wave into turret over and over again, and even with the most recent change on Annie's Incinerate, she's still having some problems keeping up with both killing the minions under the turret and keeping that harass going on.
Yeah, absolutely just getting ripped through right now for Pure. He's just chugging down those crystalline flask charges, trying to sustain himself. But it's a losing battle thus far. As we can see, Glitterland's not going to connect. That would have been a huge chunk of his HP had it. So that will keep him in here for a bit longer as he tries to trade back. Nice stun comes through. He rips a little bit of HP off Someday, but he still has a couple potions that are going to help sustain him. Meanwhile, the CS is the game right now. Pure down by just about 5 so far.
Yeah, and Pure, of course, keep in mind, he's a support player for Najin. Not necessarily their starting support all the time. Subs out with Kayn every once in a while. And so it's interesting to see him go for the Annie when maybe other champions like Callista, like we were talking earlier, Miss Fortune, might have been better aggressive 1v1s. He went with a champion that he knew he was more comfortable with, not necessarily the one that was strongest in the 1v1.
Yeah, and sometimes that's just what it comes down to, I suppose. We've seen some very interesting picks in this tournament.
Oh no, one more auto attack, even with Tibbers up. I don't think he actually had the stun up for that either, so gonna get a quick instant replay. Make sure to pay attention to Pure, see if he gets that stun around him just in time for Mr. Tibbers to come down. I think he casts one spell. Nope, he just doesn't have the stun up. So even though Tibbers came down, it was not enough to keep him alive.
Yep, still one spell away from that stun. That much needed stun with the Tibbers will cost him his life. Someday picks up his first win though. At 1-0. So solid start for him.
Yeah, that's it's gonna be game one for Someday, and this is the opposite of the way that he started his games off yesterday. He lost the first game and then had to fight his way back through it. So now that he's ahead one game, let's see how that works out. Keep in mind, yesterday Pure had a 2-0 victory over Trace. Generic Green Wings carries, so it's not necessarily something that we've been used to. The comebacks, very rare in the Solo King, but Someday had one yesterday. We'll see if maybe Pure gets his revenge today.
Yeah, and maybe we can go to that round 3 blind pick, which is ever popular. At least it's my favorite part of this tournament. And it's always interesting to see what happens when the bans are taken away. But bans are something else that we're gonna have to see in focus here. Decide what is going to be taken away this time. I'm sure that Lulu might not make it through, but who knows? Of course, like we said, there are plenty of other aggressive picks that Pure could go for here if he wants to go for that Misfortune, and maybe one of the other ADCs will make it through that he'll want to use. We'll have to see what happens when we get into that pick and ban phase.
All right, so a couple things to talk about here. Bans should still be primarily just 80 carries. You'll see Someday ban 380 carries versus Pure, just because even though Pure is a support player, he does play a lot of 80 carries too. And so banning the Ezreal, that's kind of a new one, but he was allowed to ban Ezreal because Pure was actually the one that banned Caitlyn, because he's actually second pick, so you can't leave too many things up. Whoa, insta-lock on the Kayle.
Yeah, this was taken away for that first round, so wants to go ahead, go straight for that one, so locks it in, zero hesitation. As we can see, Pure on the other hand taking his time, trying to consider what he wants to take into this matchup, because Kayle that could be a rough one.
Definitely. It was the champion that Shy actually used to make it all the way to the round of 12, I believe it was. Yeah, and even though Shy did lose 2-1 to Tucson last night, that was primarily because his Kayle was actually banned away against him every single game. Kayle, one of only 2 champions in League of Legends that has area of effect auto attacks, the second one being Jinx. And a great way to both harass your opponent and push the wave at the same time. Makes it a pretty strong combo. Plus you have sustain in lane from Holy Fervor, and then of course you've also have the ability to turn invincible for several seconds, so a pretty handy ability to have in 1v1s.
Yeah, very much so, but as we can see, Pure gonna go ahead and opt to take the Lulu that his opponent, utilized against him in that first game. We'll have to see if he can try his hand on that and have better results than he did on his Annie. We did see a pretty commanding presence in lane with that champion, so... But like you said, a lot of sustain and a lot of harass, and just a lot of range too on Kayle. So this is going to be very interesting to see if he's going to be able to keep himself up in this lane against such I guess, I don't know how else to say it, a good 1v1 champion.
Exactly. So this is going to be a little bit difficult for Pure to handle. Keep in mind, Pure's previous trips through the Solo King did, nothing against the other players that he played against, but Someday has just shown over and over again that he knows exactly not only what champions he's supposed to play, but what champions his opponents play. And if you look at the most played champions for Pure over the course of his solo king run, well, you're gonna see a lot of them in the ban category there. So no surprise there. Over the course of the group stage, Pure played Ezreal, played Graves, and he played Lucian. Of course, he also played a Rek'Sai game once, but that was not a normal game. Let's just put it that way. So take a look at the runes and masteries here. You can see the 15 flat AD, as well as magic resistance, magic penetration, and health in seals, or armor penetration. There we go.
Oh, sorry.
And then of course for masteries, should be almost the same as what we saw yesterday. No points in dangerous game, no points in spell weaving or blade weaving, but look at that, the hybrid runes going for both ability power and AD.
Yeah, he wants to weave in the auto attacks and, well, you know, utilize those to the fullest advantage. So, not too surprising seeing those ones come in.
Also, going for 6-3 in defense and utility, just to make sure he has as much health regeneration as possible. Of course, also putting some points in blocking, and the 1 point in the percentage health increase, not actually all that impactful. So you could sub that one out for a point in maybe like blade weaving or something like that, but probably not going to save you too much on the rune page.
Yeah, let's see. Not too much else to look at in this regard. Let's go ahead and switch over to some days. See what he's got going on.
Someday has literally the exact same rune page, with the exception that he put AD instead of AP, and of course has those, or is that AD? He's got 15% attack speed. So that's fairly standard from the, but he does have ability power quintessences. Okay, that's what I was looking for. And he too went with almost the exact same hybrid offense tree, but took the point out of the spell blade and put it into extra attack speed. So he has all that attack speed from the beginning of the offense tree, and no points in mana regen. Put all those points into the defense tree.
Yeah, we'll have to see if the mana becomes an issue for him in lane. Likely going to see, you know, one of two starts, either the Doran's Ring or the Crystalline Flask. Crystalline Flask is just going to offer him that much more sustain on top of what he already has. Though he may want to get a little ballsy and go for the ring and just go hyper aggressive. As we saw, he did have those attack speed in there, so he's probably going to be playing quite aggressively.
Well, let's go ahead and get into our second game of the night. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Solo King. Game number 2 in our best of 3 versus between Someday and Pure. Pure, of course, losing game number 1. Someday, okay, Chuds. The Chudnator always gets me. Flashes, teleports, this crazy stuff at level 1. Fortunately, couldn't use his Ignite, but anyway, lots of laughing going on at the beginning of this. Even though it's kind of game point for Someday, if he wins this matchup, he advances to the finals. Of course, we'll be seeing the winners and the losers of these games a little bit later on, depending on who wins, because it is a round-robin format for today. We have all 3 matches, including every single one of the players who advanced to the round of 6. And then, of course, the winners will play the winners, the losers will play the losers, and then, of course, the losers of the losers will play each other, and for elimination from the tournament. At the end of the day, we'll have 4 players remaining coming in for our grand finals on the 8th. So you don't want to miss those. And just a quick reminder, if you don't want to miss any of the games from the Solo King, make sure to hit that follow button right down below the stream, and that will let you know whenever we go live.
Alrighty, as we can see, Pure finally making his way into the lane. Someday's been sitting around for a little while. He's got that ward over the wall. Might try some cheeky play. Get the catch. We don't have a scrying orb actually this time.
Oh, Someday is very sneaky in there. You can see it's
coming around from the side.
The dangerous game. The great escape. And
Oh,
he does
he
have
gets
that ward
three.
over the wall. That was actually really good ward placement, so you can use that wall to juke around.
As you can see, yeah, almost dead even HPs at this point. They trade back a couple auto attacks, and I think a Glitter Lance. But already, Righteous Fury Pop just sweeping down the lane, clearing out these minions to the best of his ability. As we see, we do have the double Doran's Ring start with potions. If you're opted to stick around and get that extra one. So that's going to help him out a bit. And he is, you know, trading back quite nicely here against Someday.
Someday was trying to use that last minion in the lane to as sort of a bartering chip. It's like, do you want to hit the minion or me? But there weren't any minions that were going to kill it, so Pure just walked up and hit him in the face several times. So Someday a little bit lower on the HP. Both mid laners actually starting with Doran's Ring instead of the Crystalline Flask sustain build. And man, Someday keeps running into these Glitter Lances. It is, it's not looking good if he keeps taking that free damage.
Yeah, he's got the attack speed to trade back, but Pure, combined with the Glitter Lances with the auto attacks that he's weaving in, since he did take that hybrid build, he's just absolutely devastating Someday's HP right now, especially when the pick shot is coming through as well onto Someday. So you can see it's just a heck of a lot of harass that Glitter Lance goes through. Takes him to about 50% so far, just about dead even in health. He tries to aggress. He's actually getting some good damage down on Pure, pushes him back underneath the tower. Pure does not have any mana potions now, running low. Someday as well doesn't have too much. He can cast his Righteous Fury a couple more times, maybe one Divine Blessing in there before he runs Zoom. But both of them are going to be very reliant on this Doran Ring regeneration from this point until they back.
Now, level 6s won't be coming for a while, which actually means that KL's, because of Divine Blessing, has a really big advantage in the lane. Because you'll continue to get HP back. The area effect auto attacks from Righteous Fury, she can shove that wave so quickly that Pure's going to have a difficult time taking a trip back to base.
Yeah, he's going to have to sacrifice either going back and getting an item advantage, which it'll open up someday. But he'll also have to sacrifice losing CS and having Someday get that advantage. You could also get some additional damage in on the tower. Of course, that is one of our win conditions as well. So not to be discredited, as we see Pure not opting to go back. Walking in on that ward, so Someday does spot him out. Comes back around the side, though. Not going to be able to...
has to be very careful here. Someday... I'm not sure he has enough mana to go both Reckoning and Righteous Fury and get in there with a slow. But at the same time, Fury's going to get zoned off from this creep wave, and that was a cannon minion wave, so it actually would have been a pretty decent opportunity for him to go back to base.
Yeah, out there it actually is the Reckoning. Not going to be enough. The shield from Pix comes out. Will keep Pure alive, but barely so. Going to actually have to back off this time. And now falling behind in CS, down by 11, which is more than you need to be down once you hit that 100 CS mark, of course. That is our other win condition. So we'll have to see if this is going to continue being a fairly aggressive game or if they're going to start farming up. As you can see, Pure going to go ahead and clear out that wave as much as he possibly can, get himself back in. Triple Doran's Rings now. Unsurprising there, but the Reckoning comes down. Someday just firing damage onto Pure with that Righteous Fury, fires back, transforms him, but Pure making it so low.
Yeah, he's got hit by that second Reckoning in a row, and that was great way to win the trade. And as far as sustain goes, both players with potions, but only Someday has an actual way to heal himself.
Yeah, and Pure also doesn't have a mana potion. He's already running himself down a bit. The Doran's Rings will give him a bit back, but not as much as Someday is going to have. And as we can see, that Divine Blessing is already starting to heal him fairly significantly. And this is looking ever grim now for Pure as this matchup continues. Just completely being zoned off. Not able to get in for these minions at all.
Man, it's going to start to get really, really rough here for Pure. He's got the wave shoved away from him, so he's going to have to walk up, take that Reckoning, maybe trade away with the Glitter Lance. If Someday had been able to flash that Glitter Lance, keep in mind both players running both teleport and flash. So level 6 here for Someday. But he knows if he walks under turret and tries to do anything too aggressive, he's just gonna get polymorphed and die.
Yeah, also can't discredit the power of that wild growth on Lulu. It's an immense amount of HP gain, but as we can see, he goes in with the Reckoning yet again, just laying down with the Righteous Fury autos. And Pure just in a very bad spot right now.
Yeah, and I don't think he has that shield from Help Picks back up off cooldown just yet, so Someday really winning out this 1v1. Kale just such a difficult champion to lane against, and you don't really see Kale all that much in competitive play anymore, but as far as it comes to the 1v1, definitely one of the strongest 1v1 champions we've seen yet.
Yep, Pure forced to go ahead and recall yet again. It's gonna have to be using...
I think Pure might have just lost to turret damage. Someday can kill the turret here. He's got a cannon minion wave coming up. Area of effect auto attacks to put the damage down, but he's actually just going to take a free trip back to base for himself and grab the same number of Doran's rings.
Yeah, unsurprising in that regard. Pure forced to just go ahead and whimsy back to his lane as much as possible. Like you said, something pretty confidently did have the damage to lay into that tower, especially with the hybrid page. Probably could have just gone ahead and won the game right there. We'll have to see if that's going to cost him the game or if he's going to come back into lane and just still have this dominating performance that he's had thus far.
Now, before right now, Someday actually hadn't taken any damage on his turret just because he had been the one in control of the game. There is the slow, there's the whimsy to come out, and yeah, polymorphing Someday to force him to back off.
Yeah, good counter aggression. As soon as that Reckoning comes out, that should be the first thing that Pure does every single time. Of course, it's got a bit of a cooldown on that whimsy. It's like an 18-second start and scales down from there. Nice Righteous Fury damage coming through yet again, but they're still fairly even right now. Both of them have plenty of both health and mana potions to keep them sustained this time around. Someday, though, those heals are immense at this point.
Yeah, the longer this lane goes on, the further Someday gets ahead. He's also about 10 CS ahead in CS, but whoa, going in, there's the aggression, the knock-up, there's a, ooh, it's nice intervention, does block the majority of that damage, forces a flash out. Will we see Someday flash on in here? He didn't have the cooldown on Reckoning up just yet, so wasn't able to flash in there and pick up a kill.
Yep, gonna be another back now, third for Pure. Does have the teleport.
Wait,
again.
He picked up boots. That's a
this is
horrible item in a 1v1.
Oh, he's teleporting onto the minion.
Trying to... I guess he kind of figures out that, we're far enough into the game that he doesn't need the decreased cooldown on teleport, because the game's going to end before it comes up again anyway.
Yeah. So we can see now, Someday almost at that 80 CS mark. Pure fairly far behind at 65. This wave's going to bring him closer, but very close to that win condition for Someday. So just got to get 20 more CS and then be 10 up over top of Pure to win that game.
And he is already 12 CS up, so that's not actually going to be all that difficult a win condition. So for Pure, he knows he needs to win the game now, but he's behind an entire Doran's ring, and while he does have boots, I don't know exactly how well boots are going to help him when it actually just comes to dishing out the 1v1 damage. Boots are traditionally a bad item to buy in 1v1s because you're spending money on something that doesn't give you any combat stats, so he better be able to use that move speed to his advantage here, otherwise Someday is just going to walk on him, and there we go, moving forward, turn into a tiny little snowman. See if he wants to build one after this, probably not enjoying it too much.
Yeah, I mean, he gets a decent amount of damage down, but it's only a matter of time for the Divine Blessing comes up. Wild Growth comes out from Pure, flash forward by Someday. He's gonna find the kill. And that's going to be a 2-0 for Someday over Pure, as we can see the replay coming in right now. There's a lot of aggressive play.
Yeah, starts off not too badly for Pure when he gets a nice ultimate to disengage, but Someday has his flash up, and unfortunately Pure does not, having flashed away defensively earlier. That'll give the kill to Someday, a 2-0 victory over Pure.
Yeah, so that is why you ban Kale in the 1v1. Very much a powerhouse. Once you hit that triple Doran's ring start, those divine blessing heals, they just start absolutely sustaining you over just about anything else that I could think of that a champion could offer. Maybe Soraka could keep up, but
we knew thee well. So that's gonna do it for our first best of 3. Now keep in mind, coming up next, we'll have the brackets coming up on your screen, but you get the idea. It's everybody will play everybody, so it's a round, not necessarily a round robin. You have 3 matches between the remaining players in the round of 6. Each one will play each other, and then the winners of those matches will play one another, and then the losers will play each other afterwards too. So it'll be a little bit like a round robin, but at the end of the day, we will only have 4 remaining players that will move on to our playoffs on the 8th.
Yeah, so this is the point where the pressure is on more than ever. You know, you get this far in the tournament, you don't want to go home at this point. You want to go ahead and take the win. And, you know, build a good name for yourself and for your team. As we saw earlier, no SKT1 players made it through to this point, so the rest of these guys got to be feeling pretty good, especially to come out on top of Faker. So they want to stay in here for as long as possible and take that win and be crowned the solo king.
Yeah, chances for solo queen out there, but unfortunately...
we didn't see that one go through. All members of I Am Athena got taken out.
Unfortunately, yeah. It would have been nice to see them advance, but at the same time, we've got guys like Someday, Ganked by Mom also making it through to this round. And you know, we also had Ambition take a 2-0 versus Coco yesterday. OQ 2-0'd Bengi yesterday. That was one of the harshest best of 3s I've cast this entire tournament. OQ just dominated. And from arguably the best AD carry in Korea, making it this far through the tournament. I mean, he already has a very good champion pool for this tournament in AD carries, but yeah, Bengi did not have a good time versus OQ. So I'll be getting a chance to see them in just a second. Now, trying to figure out exactly what our next matchup is. I believe it said earlier it was Pure versus Trace, but it also might be Tushin versus Shy, depending on their availability. So I know there is a little bit of flexibility here. We'll get that matchup for you in just a second. So it looks like we have an interview coming up here in just a second. So let me go ahead and turn the volume up and get an interview with Someday.
네, 일단 파이널에 진출한 거 축하드립니다. 기분 어떠신가요?
지금 너무 떨려서 아직도 지금 손에 땀이 촉촉하네요.
근데 떨렸다라고 말씀을 해주시는데 떨린 것 치고는 굉장히 목소리도 침착하고 플레이도 침착하셨는데요.
네, 원래 겉으로는 잘 드러나는 스타일이 아니어서 그런 것 같아요.
외유내가.
네. 많은 분들께서 썸데이 선수가 낮은 퓨어 선수를 상대로 세트 스코어 2대 0을 만들어냈다. 근데 아직까지는 조금 안정적인 모습인데 혹시 솔로킹 토너먼트 파이널에 진출해서는 준비한 전략이라던가 아니면 나만이 가지고 있는 그런 무기 혹시 있으신가요?
그건 전략적으로 비밀이기 때문에 아직 공개할 수가 없네요.
기업 비밀이죠.
아니 그러니까 공개를 해달라는 게 아니라 어쨌든 간에 유무를 여쭤봤는데 있으시다는 말씀이신 거죠?
그것도 비밀이에요.
네, 이거는 없어도 있다고 얘기하는 게 무조건적으로 유리합니다.
이런 거는
그래요?
일종의 블러핑이거든요.
그렇죠.
없어도 있다고 해야 되는 거고 있으면 없다 그래야 되는 거고.
우리 이런 진행자들이 이런 걸 조금 캐줘야 많은 분들께서
네, 전략이 있다고 합니다.
네.
굉장한 걸 숨겨놨다고 합니다 지금.
네.
네.
혹시 같은 그 대회에 참가했었던 팀원분들께서는 뭐라고 이야기를 좀 해주시나요?
계속 캐릭터 추천을 하는데요. 별로 좋지 않은 거 계속 지라고 추천해주는 것 같아요.
네. 자, 이제 파이널을 앞두고 있습니다. 기분 좋게 올라갔고 그리고 많은 팬 여러분들께서 썸데이 선수의 진출을 또 많이 기원을 해주셨는데 우리 팬 여러분들께 한 말씀 부탁드리도록 하겠습니다.
많이 기대하지 않고 봐주셨을 텐데 이렇게 올라와서 기분 좋고요.
네.
앞으로 더 좋은 모습만 많이 보여드리도록 노력하겠습니다.
네, 감사합니다. 우리 KT 썸데이 선수였습니다. 고맙습니다.
감사합니다.
네.
인터뷰가 약간 청문회 같은 느낌이었는데
아.
마무리가.
저희가 이런 거를 조금 물어봐 줘야
And that's going to do it with our interview with Someday. If you were sticking around in chat, then you might have been able to see some translations, but otherwise, that is going to do it for our first best of 3. So congratulations to Someday for his 2-0 victory over Pure, and that's going to move us on to our second best of 3 of the night. Of course, every one of these series will be best of 3s, even when we get down to the losers matches later on. We'll get that schedule up on your screen in just a second here. So stick around. We'll have Tucson versus Ganked by Mom. That match will be coming up next.
이달리가 이제 뭐 버그가 있긴 했는데요. 오늘 이제 새벽에
안 그러면 굉장히 또 외형적으로만 봐도 아파 보이거든요. 이거 올립니다.
일단 맞췄죠?
지금 또 맞아가지고 이거
들어오나요?
안 맞추고 가지가 초동격상 치열하게 들어갔어요.
아, 이러면
살짝 대박이에요.
자, 이거
입장 타이밍은 오겠죠.
지금이네요.
입장 타이밍.
화났어 지금.
자, 이거 아프거든요.
굉장히 차이가 많이 나고 있는데 짧았죠?
여기서 역으로 다르방 들어갈 수 있거든요. 전면 생각해야죠.
이현을 먹느냐 지금 결과는 뭐였죠? 한번 역부! 정말
지금 마그장이었죠. 뭐야 또 부끄러운 분위기. 아니 저거 할 필요가 없거든요.
전면을 피하고
저거 있잖아요.
설마
치포!
챔피언으로 본다면 숫자가 되겠습니다. 이걸 당하지 않으려면 라인을 밀고 집에 가야 돼요.
그러면은 석화의 음치를 야 뒷몸이
이 너무 영리한데요.
네.
근데 여기서 생각이 마무리를 정면
자신이 좋아하는 사실 그렇죠. 그거를 생각을 해야 돼요. 이렇게 까마게
들어가나요?
옆몸이 근데 안 써요.
이거 지금 그거 안 써요.
이거는 전멸 써야죠. 나오는 만화까지
4개 차이.
네.
생각하는데요.
자, 그렇기 때문에 일단은 어느 정도
오늘 한번
괜찮아요.
자,
괜찮아요.
저만 걸고
추가질.
좋거든요 이거.
승부수
전멸 피해야죠.
자, 이러면 루시안과 애니의 경기가 펼쳐지죠.
끌어야겠죠.
네. 위험한데요?
아니. 그렇죠. 방금 이런 플레이가 가능한 게 티버가 없잖아요. 전멸? 이거
최상수
이거 들어갑니까?
마무리
한방
아니네요.
보호막이 어느 정도 빼놓은.
이제 미니언의 타이죠. 그렇죠. 이제 미니언의 타이죠.
이거 이기고 놀랬죠.
서 있어요.
자, 먼저 좌측에 CJ 엔터스 앰비션 강창현 선수. 자, 왼쪽에 안주요.
이게 지금 앰비션이 당황할 수밖에 없는데 어떻게 불안하거든요.
신불.
안 되는 게 앰비션 소환사 주는 킬입니다. 저게 체력이 보이는 게 다가 아니에요.
보이지 않는 뭔가가 남아있죠. 이렇게요. 야! 보이지 않는 뭔가가 남아있고 한 방울
그렇죠. 공격적으로 해주기 좋아요.
근데 여기 선수가 미니언을 들면
여기는 포탑에 너무 가까워요.
그리고 이 팩이 앰비션 지금 안 줘요.
이거 도망칠 수밖에 없는 이겨라 선수 그 뒤에 반짝 보입니다. 앰비션.
친구도 써주고
자, 여기서 마지막.
작업을 해놓고 하면은 가능성 있겠다.
이렇게 난다. 체력 회복하고 회복하고 난다. 와.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Solo King. My name is Reed Rapid Melton. With me is Seth Achilleos King, and we'll be getting into our second best of 3 of the night as Tucson takes on Ganked by Mom.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in this matchup in the pick-a-ban phase. Whether we'll have that Kale go through again. I'm sure these guys are watching each other's games so they know these good picks. Actually, no Kale going through this time. So you see we're actually having a Caitlyn versus Varus matchup.
Now, the Caitlyn pick from Ganked by Mom is, I want to say, the better one. We've seen Caitlyn just dominate 1v1s all throughout the tournament. Arguably the best or second best champion in the game when it comes to 1v1s because you have so many options at, available for you. You can either win the game by hitting the CS cap, because Caitlyn's CS is very, very well thanks to her long range. She's also very, very good at taking towers and can be abusive enough in lane to just harass you out at that long range with the early game trading potential and go in for kills that way. So the Varus pick is a little bit gimmicky. You have to land your piercing arrows, and of course that's going to be what we watch for. Let's go ahead and get in a game. Apparently, Tucson having some issues loading into this one, but theoretically, we'll see him here in just a second. Otherwise, I mean, not saying Ganked by Mom wins by default or anything, but we are looking for Tucson to go ahead and load in. So, in the meantime, we can't talk about Ganked by Mom. Honestly, one of the players that, I mean, people would say he's up and coming, and then you realize he's been a quote-unquote up-and-coming player for basically his entire career. His first kind of dropped onto the radar when he won a couple of very, very clutch games versus SKT last season. And ever since then, it's just been pretty nice to see him consistently getting better and better, especially this season. Just 2-0'd Faker yesterday. Took out the guy that, honestly, a lot of people thought this tournament was just made for. So, Faker no longer in the tournament, got knocked out, got ganked by Mom, and now he's here versus incredible Miracles Tucson.
That puts an immense amount of pressure on Tucson as well. Going up against the guy that's able to 2-0 Faker, something, like you said, we thought might have been a little bit unprecedented and possibly impossible. But it is possible. It did happen. So we'll have to see if Ganked by Mom's going to have the same performance or if Tucson.
Have been resolved. Looks like we are going to go ahead and load back into the game. I actually had to restart my connection there, so I might be a little bit behind as I am still loading into the game.
Just let me know where you're at. We will find out.
Well, I will endeavor to let you know that too. So in the meantime, enjoy some music, and we'll be right back. All right, I am currently at 0-0-0. The game has not started yet for me. But do let me know if that is where you are. I'm getting the feeling you're actually somewhat ahead of me.
Yeah, I'm about 45 seconds in.
All right, well, try going with like a quick refresh of the stream, and we'll see if we can get this back up and running.
All right. I can tell you from the future, 1 minute in, nothing happens. So we have not missed any action yet.
All right, well, good to hear. I'll be getting this back up and running in just a second. Also, want to make sure it is sourced. And, all right, well, I am in the middle of a pause currently. So once again, nothing has happened at all. Get that back up on your screens here in just a second. And, yeah, so I'm currently in the pause timer.
Yep, that would be right where I am as well.
Okay, give me the time on your pause timer so we can go ahead and sync things up. All right, well, I am counting down into the game. So 2, 1, and now I'm in.
They're about 3 ahead of me.
Okay, well, I'll try to get this all synced up and everything. Would love to be able to just pause and sync it, but it does look like at least I am here at 21, 22, 23 seconds, and hopefully that we can do something about that. Trying to work through some technical difficulties as we get through the first few seconds of the game, and thankfully, like Achilleos mentioned earlier, absolutely nothing is happening. Could throw down some epic commentary of ganked by mobs standing perfectly still.
Competitive standing.
We actually saw that in a couple of our earlier games in the tournament. Both mid laners were like walk mid, stand perfectly still, and just wait until minions arrive. They're not even not attacking each other, not moving. Had a couple of dance-offs too, but ultimately it's always one guy that just has to be the scumbag and auto attack somebody else.
Ruins the fun for everyone.
Oh well. So let me know where you are as far as time is concerned, and we'll see if we can sync that up again.
Maybe a 140 right now.
140?
42, 43, yeah.
Well then, it looks like I need to actually catch up with that, so...
Now we flip-flopped.
Yeah, now you're the one that's ahead.
I'll be casting from the future.
Well, luckily it didn't take me all that much to refresh, and yeah, it does look like I am stuck in the past at about 1 minute and 30 seconds right now. The struggles that have come with desyncing everything. Turns out that connection issues, we are not immune to those. And so I guess we can talk about, trying to think of a neutral subject. The starts for both players actually including a mana potion for ganked by mobs. He brings that in on his Caitlyn, whereas Tusin's just looking for that extra HP.
Yeah, fairly unsurprising. Probably going to be utilizing the Pilt over Peacemaker a lot to, clear out the waves, keep his CS up, and just get that general harass in on Tusin, who is otherwise going to be very dependent on consuming the Blight stacks to get his harass off. Generate some Blight stacks off your auto attacks when you get your Blighted Quiver on W, which is your passive, and then of course you just probably want to proc them, ideally with a piercing arrow, but the surefire way of doing so would be with Hail of Arrows, very much easier to land. It's got a wider berth to it.
Oh, and miss on that first piercing arrow does not bode well for Tusin, so it's going to have to keep this lane shoving, and he actually does have the wave advantage as far as the control is concerned. 4 minions still left in there. Ganked by Mob will have to take care of those, and Tusin not doing a good job avoiding these Pilt over Peacemakers. He's gotten hit by every single one so far.
Yes, just absolutely the only job that you really have against the Caitlyn is to avoid Pilt over Peacemakers. It is the brunt of her harass from range unless she is hitting you with that headshot proc off her passive. Of course, with her weaving in those auto attacks also is great, but those Peacemakers will tear you apart. You gotta be careful.
Tusin actually out-CSing GBM. He actually walked into that Pilt over Peacemaker that time. I saw that. I watched him walk straight into it. He's like, I'm gonna micro this way, and well, GBM got the prediction and has the damage advantage. Okay, there's a dodge. Good job, Tusin. able to finally dodge his first Piltover of the game. So, and then he just gets hit by another one. All right.
Yep, it's a very quick follow-up. He does the 90 caliber Ned straight into it and just absolutely rips into him.
Man, I understand that it's a difficult option for an immobile AD carry like Varus, but GBM is just capitalizing on every single one of those Caitlyn tricks. It's just a little bit too rough for him to deal with, and he's already gone through all of his health potions. GBM still has actually no, he's gone with his sustain too.
Yep. But, you know, 10 CS difference in favor of Tucson still. So you can see he's got double Doran's Blade now coming back in, as well as health and mana potions.
Or at least he will, sometime
he will.
in the future.
Dang.
Yeah, wave advantage for GBM as he shoves it into the turret. He's going to go back and force Tucson to spend some time CSing there at the turret. Yeah, double Doran should be the bias here on both sides, but actually a 10 CS advantage now for Tucson. GBM's been putting all that pressure on harassing and just dropped down a little bit in CS.
Yeah, which is a little bit surprising considering that he's playing Caitlyn. He's playing the champion that has the range. I guess he's just been focusing a bit too much on landing that onslaught of Piltover Peacemakers onto Tucson that he has just forgotten, oh yeah, I need CS as well.
And a nice snipe there by Tucson does land that piercing arrow, but of course it's not really going to be quite as effective. And oh, there's a nice slow hail of arrows. You know, it's going to cut healing a little bit, and it's easy to land for damage, but primarily, if you hit Gank by Mom with a slow, it's going to force a 90 caliber net to disengage, otherwise he is going to take a lot of extra damage.
Yeah, and there's going to be some heavy trading back and forth, so get hype.
All right, I'm ready for it. There's that hail of arrows, and we talked about needing the 90 caliber net to escape it. Tucson walking forward is going to look for the piercing to pop those stacks here in just a second. Once again, walking right into the Piltover Peacemaker. Unfortunately, having some difficulties dodging those this series. Ganked by Mom. We'll see if that is what turns it in his favor, because as far as CS is concerned, he is continuing to drop behind in it. He has brought himself back about 3-4 CS. There's that free ace in the hole. It's going to hit. Nobody to block that.
We need Shoes Teemo to run up the mid lane and then just take the ace in the hole right there.
Yeah,
it might one-shot him.
I was going to say, well, that's actually true. If he gets like level 8, level 9, the one-shot with the ace in the hole, it's possible. But for Shu, observers unfortunately resigned to their spots on the fountain. We actually had some issues with observers actually walking out of the fountain earlier, so they are locked in fountain prison right now. Or at least they should be. Shu has actually walked out of his prison. Still inside the base, though.
As long as he has no real impact, that's where it doesn't matter. That's where it becomes a problem when you have that going on.
Well, any game that has a Teemo in it already has a problem. But we'll let it slide this time.
The Teemo being ever present.
I mean, his global taunt is always engaged. When they say global taunt for Teemo, it's not just global as in the map, it's global as in the world. Taunting everyone all time. Once again, back on the fountain. And as far as trades go, let's talk about that in the mid lane. It used to be a 10 CS advantage, now it's only about 5 or 6. Tucson with the sustain advantage, but there's another ace in the hole. I wonder if you could ever just win a game by just ace in the holing your target over and over again. It's gonna be a little bit of an advantage.
If they never backed.
And you're just standing in lane over and over.
And never auto-attacked with their Doran's blades, then yes, it is possible. Otherwise, I mean, Tucson's in a good spot.
Yeah, he's in a good spot as far as pushing is concerned. His higher CS count means that when he does get to 100, he can put a lot more pressure on to Gank by Mom, who is playing a remarkably passive Caitlyn style. Won't miss any of these CS under turret, but oh, there's a piercing arrow to land. Down to under 400 HP, and Tucson just kind of living the high life here. Up at Doran's Blade in that matchup, and GBM still needs to wait for his teleport to come off cooldown. Whoa, flashes! That Varus ultimate probably wouldn't have hit it anyway, but better safe than sorry, I guess.
He was very much on the verge. I think it was a matter of pixels at that point as to whether or not that one was going to land.
Right. And
A little
if he
hard
had
to tell.
gotten hit, then he would have died instantly. So probably a good thing to use your flash for. But those hails of arrows still difficult to deal with. Teleports back up, so we will get a chance to go back to base.
Yeah.
Any predictions on the item buy?
All Doran's blades.
Oh, I actually picked up 5 mana potions. That is, that's kind of remarkable. Oh, actually trying to stop the recall there and does so successfully. So, also dropping that scrying orb just to make sure he knows exactly where Tucson is at all times.
Yeah, he wants to keep tabs on him, which is good. That's what you want for Caitlyn. Of course, the scrying orb, the staple free item for her, very much helps you, not even just in a 1v1, but also in a regular 5v5, spot out a target if you lose vision of them. Get that ace in the hole rolling.
Oh, nice barrier actually used there by Tucson. Blocks the entirety of that ace in the hole damage. Not sure it's necessarily worth a summoner spell, because keep in mind Tucson does not have flash, so he's extra immobile. Won't be able to get out of any of these. If he steps in a Caitlyn trap, he's kind of done. No way to get out of that. But now with all those mana potions, you're going to see GBM pretty much permanently regenerating mana.
Yep, just a lot of harass back and forth between the two. But
discrepancy, of course, is 2 Doran's blades. Tucson just miles ahead in this matchup. He's also that 10 CS advantage. It's there, and he'll be able to use it to win the game if he gets up to 100 CS. Which he does need to have 10 over ganked by Mom. He's almost there. If he gets every minion in this wave, I think he might actually just win. And so GBM's walking forward. Tucson does have his ultimate up again. He's waiting there. He's going to hit GBM. Of course, he has already won the game. The 101 CS to 91 CS final score.
yep, so overall, I mean, despite the immense amount of harass that we saw their first clash in the mid lane there, just, you know, game ends to CS advantage, which is definitely, I would say, the minority of wins that we see in this tournament. Most of the time it is that first blood, and sometimes even the tower push. But taking it away with the CS, so actually coming up pretty strongly on that Varus compared to the Caitlyn, which is a bit surprising. We'll have to see if that's going to make it through the pick and bans of the next game, which we'll be into momentarily.
All right, now I'm trying to get everything synced up here and see if we can even things up, maybe just a little bit more. There was a small issue, so I think I'm actually going to take a small break to do that while we run a quick commercial in between these two games. So I'll be right back in before game number 2, which is actually up on my screen. So I think I actually might have fixed the issue. In 1 second, we should have this back and ready to go. Alright, so we're back into champion selection. Looks like we can go ahead and sync things up here. So we're going bans. There's 17 seconds left for Tucson to ban his 3rd champion. What is it going to be?
As I still reside slightly in the future, I can tell you it is a Cassiopeia ban.
Oh my goodness. This is why we keep Achilles around. Man, you're so good at this. It's like you know ahead of time what's going to happen.
Achilles for Profit 2015. Get out of here, crumbs. I'm taking your spot.
We're gonna have the Achilles copy pasta with the photoshopped beard and robe.
That was probably my favorite thing that Riot has ever done, I will say.
Include Crumbs the Prophet. Well, definitely. So what's the last band going to be? Okay, well, it's a new. I already saw it on the screen.
Yeah. So that's one that we've seen taken away fairly consistently, I would say. And I mean, it makes sense. He gets free casts off of his auto attacks. He has an immense amount of sustain with his consume, and just can deal generally a lot of damage. Surprising amount of damage for somebody who is otherwise considered a tank. So not too surprising that we see that one coming out.
Yeah, and Tucson has picked up a win earlier. I think his first win of the Solo King was on Nunu. So kind of going back to his roots there in some regard.
Yeah, as we can see, the Caitlyn was taken away this time by GBM, banning that one out. Didn't want to play against it.
I believe that is one of two Caitlyn losses this tournament. So
definitely the minority, and makes it all the more shocking that it happened. As you can see, Tucson is on the Graves this time.
Ooh, and yeah, a lot of bans going to be. I go, wait, what? Was that its change to a Yasuo? Good job not giving that away. I was
containing myself here, keeping the excitement in as much as possible.
I don't know. I'm not used to seeing Yasuo's. There's actually a 1v1 tournament that I think Nice Game TV broadcast with it was all Yasuo players. So it was just Yasuo 1v1s all the way. It was best Yasuo Korea, and I believe a guy named Top Mimic actually wound up winning. No OGN pros involved in that one though, so we'll get a chance to see if Ganked by Mom's Yasuo is good enough to take on Tucson's Graves. Initially, I would say this seems like a horrible matchup, but there's always that option that Yasuo has if he lands a knockup to just straight up kill the AD carry. Graves is pretty tanky though.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's gonna be all the more difficult given Graves' passive, where he gets that increased armor and magic resist. Of course, magic resist not gonna help him whatsoever in that matchup against the Yasuo, but the armor all the same will. So that will make him a force to be reckoned with. I think this is really going to come down to wind wall placement for GPM. As long as he can block the buckshots and maybe even the collateral damage post 6, then that should be able to swing it back into his favor.
Alright, so taking a look at the runes and masteries here, we actually have percent cooldown reduction for GBM, just so he can spam as much as possible. But yeah, cooldown reduction blues. I would have expected to see mana regen in there, but I guess he's just gonna buy a lot of mana potions there. A little bit of extra AD, 9 points in armor. This is kind of weird. There's no attack speed increase, so that's probably the most significant absence from his rune page. But I don't know what this mastery page is. He's got a point in... How did he make this mastery page? He has a point in Dangerous Game, which doesn't do anything because, you know, if you win the game by killing the other guys, you don't need that extra health back. He's got a point in Critical Strike. Every time you get a crit, you get extra attack speed, but he's not going to be buying any Critical Strike damage. He also has a point in Amplifying Damage for Allied Champions. There aren't any of those in there either, so 3 mastery points are kind of in an interesting place.
I wish I had an answer for you. Unfortunately, the future does not hold one for that mastery page. Really interesting, almost oversighted picks. You know, just didn't really think about it too much, I suppose. He just kind of, I'm going to put points here and here and here.
He's also split his armor and HP runes, favoring 11 AD, has gone with 2 attack damage quintessences and 1 attack speed quintessence, and then has split his reds between armor and attack speed. That was definitely one of the weirdest combinations I've seen in a long time as far as runes go. But for masteries, no point in Dangerous Game, and none of the points in any of the masteries that we saw for GBM. So Tucson's mastery page looks a lot better. Still 9 points in defense, but everything a little bit closer to where they should be.
A bit more in line there. We'll have to see if these oddball decisions are going to net either a win, see who's going to come out on top. Maybe we will have a 3-game matchup between these two, or maybe Tucson's just going to go ahead, win 2-0, and advance on to his next opponent. We'll have to see what happens when we get into the Rift, which will happen momentarily.
Alright, so let's take a quick overview of exactly what we can expect. We've got Ganked by Mom. He'll be taking on Tucson now, and then our last matchup before we get into the final deciding elimination matches is going to be OQ versus Ambition. So you definitely don't want to watch that one. Make sure to stick around, hit that follow button, support our charity right down below the stream, and we will be back in just a second. And we're back. So welcome back to the Solo King tournament, ladies and gentlemen, for our second game of this best of 3. Chad's going with the flash jump at level 1, as always. Yeah, Tucson versus GBM. My name is Rapid. That voice from the future that you're going to be hearing this game is Achilleos. So I'll be asking for predictions over the course of this game, and hopefully you get them right.
Yeah, if I don't get them right, then that says something horrible about me.
It's like you can actually see them, and then you still don't know what's up. So, so prediction time. Who gets first blood, Achilleos?
Oh, it's going to be Tucson.
Really? So you're predicting a 2-0 against the guy that 2-0'd Faker?
Yes, I think that it'll be the upset. It'll be the bigger upset of the tournament outside of Faker getting defeated initially. I think that GBM losing 2-0 to Tucson be that much more of an upset. So that's what I'm going to bank on happening. Of course, I don't have too much insight in that regard as of yet. Haven't quite reached that point in my mystic visions.
Okay, so a couple of things to talk about here. GBM has Ignitus' Summoner spell along with, of course, that prerequisite teleport. Could have brought Flash, but much smarter to bring teleport so that Tucson can't play overly passively. Now, another thing we saw from GBM's runes was that he brought a lot of cooldown reduction in with him. Still kind of confused as to why he was going for that. Also, that's the reason he didn't bring mana regen. I don't know why I said that when I was talking about his runes earlier, but with going with the sustain build there, Tucson does make himself very vulnerable to dying at like level 2, level 3 once Yasuo hits those power spikes. So unless Prophet Achilleos is that far ahead in the future, should still be a mystery.
It is. I can confirm that it is indeed a mystery. But like you said, GBM not going with the flash, which I think is a good idea. If you hit that level 6 point, you're going to get the last breath, which kind of acts as a flash for you as long as you land the knockup. But one of the things that you don't want to do is flash into the face of the graves, because obviously the more shells that you eat from that buckshot, the more damage it's going to deal. And if you eat all 3, if you're right up in his face, it is going to absolutely decimate you. So not too surprising that he doesn't want to take that one. The flash would really be used, I feel, to dodge out the skill shots of Tucson.
Wow, yeah, Tucson is going to be really happy he has that Flash Summoner spell. GBM is putting on the pressure. Needs to hit that level 3 so that Tucson doesn't just smoke bomb and then walk up with a... Oh, man, really good at landing these knockups so far, too. I think GBM's like 3 for 3 on him. And I mean, keep in mind, Yasuo is the champion that used to be... I don't want to say the most popular. I think Orianna is still the most popular, but one of the most popular champions in Champions last season. So he's hit a few nerfs since then, so we don't see too many Yasuos these days.
Yeah, I don't really see him too much in general. Even on the NA side of things, he's not really been in favor. You will see, coming up here, GBM utilizing the Wind Wall to deny Tucson from getting that under tower harass. So, pretty well played in that regard. But they're actually staying fairly even, despite being a melee champion compared to a ranged champion. You know, GBM's doing a decent job of CSing.
Whoa, not doing such a great job at keeping his HP high. Might have actually been in kill potential right there before disengaging. I think he's going to have that buckshot stop him from going back. Does have a full Way of the Wanderer passive. So have a little bit of extra shields. But yeah, Tucson's just going to walk up and stop him over and over again. Tucson might be risking death here. But a wind wall used early is going to make this rough to CS at turret for GBM. Oh, turret shot there. Actually, might make a difference.
Yeah, it certainly does help him out. But yeah, not able to get those backs in. Tucson just laying down that onslaught of just walking up, trying to throw the buckshot down. And keep him from that recall.
So wind wall is...
pokey, yeah.
I feel like the only way that GBM is going to recall is if he puts up a wind wall first so that Tucson can't stop him from backing.
Yeah, he's actually going to be recalling fairly soon. He's going to peel back quite a bit of distance so far that Tucson can't just dive in on him.
I love how you're saying fairly soon when it's actually already happened.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Well, what do you know?
Okay. What do you know?
I'm at 536 right now, so
okay.
Hopefully there's not too big a discrepancy.
I will keep that in mind when I lay my predictions on you.
Nice try. Okay, so coming back in the lane, triple Dorans versus double Dorans. That means that when GBM hits level 6, there is so much kill potential. Coming in there, if he is able to land one of those Steel Tempests. Continue to go in there, getting those aggressive trades down. Where's the knockup? Oh, didn't go for it. Was still only level 5, so needs that level 6 to hit in there. There it is.
Well, get ready for some action, I will say.
Oh, avoids completely that ultimate. There's Ignite going down. He needs one more auto attack to pick it up. It's ganked by Mom. With the first blood so close in there. That Ignite, really the turning point. And also being able to dash right to the side and completely avoid collateral damage. Beautiful micro there by Gank by Mom. Just barely avoiding that. Of course, he missed his last Steel Tempest, but he had the auto attack that won him the game, winning the 1v1 versus Tucson's Graves. It's GBM, and he'll tie the series up at 1-1.
Yeah, so I suppose that seeing the future doesn't help out all the time. I was wrong. GBM does pick up a win, and now we go to the third round match, which is going to be blind pick between these two players, which is even more hype than that last little skirmish.
You say it's even more hype, unless we get like Caitlyn versus Caitlyn. Or yesterday we had Karthus versus Caitlyn. That did not go well for Faker's Karthus.
Let's see the double Urgot.
Oh my gosh. We have we have had Lee Sin 1v1s before.
Yeah, those are always very fun to watch just off of mechanics alone. Of course, we could see something as hype as that Mad Life 1v1 against his own teammate with Double Mundo.
Yeah, the dodgeball games.
That was probably my favorite moment from this entire tournament thus far.
The Faker versus Mad Life, or not Faker, but Mad Life versus Space dodgeball game. If you guys haven't seen Mad Life versus Space, make sure to head back to the VOD section and definitely check it out. I believe it's also on Azubu's YouTube channel. Azubu YouTube. That's also kind of rough to say, but. Do want to also mention, if you are just now joining us or are new to the Solo King, but want more action coming your way, make sure to hit that follow button right down below the screen. And if you'd like to help us support Extra Life charities, they help support children's hospitals around the nation. Just scroll down, click on that Extra Life link, and that'll help you know exactly how you can donate to support the cause. Of course, if you're here to support the cause of esports and Korean 1v1s, then you don't have much farther to go. We'll be getting into our third and final blind pick game of this best of 3. GBM losing game 1, but bringing it back in game number 2. See what champions are selected here in game number 3. And also no pick order either. You don't get to know what you're playing against until you actually get into the game.
Yep, you just have to play the discovery game when you get onto that loading screen, and it can either be a fantastic moment as you go, yes, I picked the counter, or you go, oh, damn, I'm gonna get destroyed by this by this champion. So it can go either way. I'm interested to see what these guys are gonna pull out. We did see Nunu taken away earlier, and now that is going to be on the board, so I'm interested to see if we will see that picked up. That's my speculation, that's not me playing from the future. We'll see what happens here.
Okay, well, it does look like we have finished the champion selection. It is going to be a Varus versus Caitlyn. Tucson picking up that Caitlyn once again, but is that going to be the answer? It's kind of interesting to see them, swapping things up a little bit, going for the Varus versus Caitlyn rematch we got to see earlier.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see if GBM is able to, play forward with this Varus this time. See, Tucson did a really good job on it, utilizing the Blight stacks and just laying on a lot of harass with the hail of arrows. Caitlyn had a much rougher time, but then again, Caitlyn still does have that win ratio in her advantage. So,
Ganked by Mom this time, going for 14% attack speed, 15 AD, and I believe that is 8.5 armor penetration. I'm not sure exactly what his runes wound up being there towards the end, but as far as masteries go, GBM still has that pesky point in Dangerous Game. Doesn't actually do anything, but as far as everywhere else is concerned, looks good. 1 point in Warlord, so he does have 2% additional damage. But yeah, the observer is highlighting it right now. The point in Dangerous Game doesn't really matter all that much.
I'm really interested, and I would love to be able to sit down with the majority, maybe not the majority, but a good number of the players in the Solo King tournament and ask, why do you continually take this in your mastery page?
Well, I mean, it's kind of reflexive to see, hey, I get that little bit of extra HP, can win me the 1v1 matchup, but not necessarily something that you're too used to going without. So that's going to do it for our picks, and I guess there were no bans because it was blind pick. Runes and Masteries, they're all underway, so we're going to get underway with our last game of the night. It's going to be one of the most hyped matchups I've seen. Ganked by Mom, a guy that some people, I was talking to an analyst friend of mine, he said, yeah, there's no way Ganked by Mom loses this tournament, and that was before he played against Faker. So, very bold statement to make, and it's proven true until now. We'll have to see how Ganked by Mom does versus Tucson. We'll have our final game of this best of 3 series coming up in just a second. Once again, make sure to hit the follow button right down below the screen. Donate to our Extra Life charity if you can by scrolling down right below there as well. And stick around, because this is not our last best of 3 of the night. Coming up for our final game, it's going to be Ambition versus OQ. So you don't want to miss that, and of course the elimination matches to follow. Once again, this is the Solo King being broadcast on Azubu TV. Thank you for watching. We'll be right back. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Solo King here on Azubu TV. My name is Rapid, and no longer from the future, my co-caster Achilles joining me for what is hopefully a much more in-sync performance, as opposed to all the other in-sync performances out there, which I was not fortunate enough to get tickets to.
Oh, man. I have, unfortunately, as you said, lost my prophetic powers. So I will be on the same page as the rest of you mortals here as we get onto the Rift.
All right, so I'll try to to call out the defining moments here. Just some quick banter before the game starts. Tucson had some words of wisdom for GBM. Don't know exactly what they were, but maybe we'll get some secret behind-the-scenes translation on those from Chednader later on. Chud not opting for his trademark flash rocket jump that he does every single other game.
Yeah, maybe he's busy translating. Maybe they were saying, let's just sit in Fountain.
Sit in Fountain, get that passive gold generation.
Because once again, we're seeing that competitive standing going on right now.
I think what they want to do is have themselves be the observers and have the spectators go play the 1v1 for them.
Let's see the Teemo versus Tristana matchup in the mid lane.
But keep in mind, it's also Clarity Cleanse Teemo versus Flash Ignite Tristana. Something tells me that Clarity Cleanse may not be quite as impactful.
I suppose you could take off the bomb.
Can you do that? I guess... I
It
thought
would
it only cleanses debuffs, though.
That's true. I guess it does it. I'm unfamiliar if it gives you a debuff with the new Tristana, because you never see cleanse really taken. So I'm really unfamiliar with how those two interact with each other.
Yeah, I think you'd need a QSS for that, but...
Okay.
I wonder if it drops the bomb on the ground like it drops Fizz's fish on the ground.
That would be really interesting programming from the game devs, if that's how it behaves. I would like to see that in action, but for now, as we can see, they are in the lane, and the CSing war has begun. We'll have to see if that's how this one's going to end yet again, or if it's going to be a bit more aggressive.
GBM dodging that pilt over Peacemaker, and he's actually playing this lane both aggressively and getting ahead in the CS. Of course, that is only momentary because Tucson actually has more CS to kill on the field, so should be able to even that up. And actually, I believe he's actually a couple CS ahead. 3 CS ahead if he gets every single one of these, which he will not.
Nope. Tower going to go ahead and claim one of those. But Tucson getting harassed out a bit. I mean, they're both chugging their crystalline flask charges, which we will go ahead and touch on that. Both of them opting to go for that. Do not want to go hyper aggressive with the Doran's Blade. They saw how this matchup ended last time. So unsurprising in that regard. But Tucson still guarding himself a decent CS lead for the point that we are at in this matchup. Ahead by about 4.
Now, one other difference that we should point out is the summoner spells. It's a barrier for ganked by Mom, and I think the barrier is primarily just for ace in the hole, so that if you're gonna die and you disengage, you can still stop the ace in the hole with the barrier, because you know you're gonna get full value out of it.
Yeah, I think these are I believe the exact same summoner spells that we saw, just inverted on the players. So each each champion's still using the same ones, because we did see Tucson have barrier and he ate that questionable ace in the hole.
Yeah, now actually over the course of the tournament, it's actually been GBM preferring only this barrier teleport mastery setup. He did go with Ignite in the last game on Yasuo, but I feel like that's because he knew that he needed to be getting first blood to win the game, because he wasn't really going to ever outfarm Graves. So wow, GBM playing this game so far forward. Tucson, get those stacks popped already.
Yeah, really good zoning, pushes him into that little, alleyway on the side, and then forces him into the piercing arrow, consuming those defile stacks. So really good harass, but he walks straight into a pelt over Peacemaker as well.
He's done that so many times this tournament.
Yeah, this just seems to be the theme of this matchup, is walk into him. That is not a win condition. Walking into the pelt over Peacemakers does not help you win.
GBM eats a headshot, so that's probably not super high on his list of things to do. Does dodge that pilt over Peacemaker, so we can't give him too much flack for getting hit by those.
Kind of hit like a stagnant point here in the CS. Tucson just floating ever above GBM in this regard, but not really stretching the lead too much, but a lot of harass coming out. Actually, barrier popped. He was afraid of the headshot.
Oh, and a miss on that piercing arrow. If he had hit the piercing arrow, it might have been an okay trade, but now GBM is actually in a really rough spot. He's almost out of mana completely, whereas Tucson, starting with that extra mana potion, is actually going to be a little bit ahead.
Yeah, he's also got that headshot. I'm going to actually go ahead and pop it out. This is going to be his last piercing arrow that he's able to cast before he's completely AoE'd. There it is. So hits the wave. Tucson fires back with the built over Peacemaker. He's going to be able to clear out these minions, no problem. And that's GBM looking to have the first back of this game. He's currently going to want to teleport back, because Tucson is going to get one heck of a CS advantage right now. Already 12 ahead, and just under halfway to that 100 CS mark.
Yeah, Tucson will be denying a couple of CS. Actually, no, does not deny any CS under turrets. So it is significantly farther ahead in the creep score department. But the way that Gank by Mom has been playing this lane has just been so aggressive that he's actually missed out on not only a lot of CS, you can see that actually impacting the items being bought now behind an entire Doran's Blade versus Tucson.
Yeah, that's just going to be very rough for GBM now in this matchup. But on the Hail of Arrows, trying to get a bit more harass, which we did see that, you know, the Hail of Arrows harass was doing quite well. Actually, ultimate comes across, but Tucson underneath the tower will get hit by that piercing arrow. But he's got a lot of sustain coming in Triple Doran's Blade, plus the Crystalline Flask. He will be able to heal himself up rather quickly, and that ultimate down from GBM is going to alleviate a lot of pressure for Tucson.
And GBM can keep putting out these like cheap little, you know, spells, like uncharged piercing arrows, just throwing out hail of arrows every once in a while. But he's not really getting enough value out of those to avoid Tucson just out-sustaining him. He can CS at long range with Piltover Peacemakers, but Tucson is just straight up has more CS, and unless all of this aggression from GBM denies Tucson that much, it's just not going to work out. You can see there, did not have barrier to block that ace in the hole from having kind of whiffed it earlier.
Yeah, so now kind of turning that one on its head for Tucson. So good ace in the hole back will help him swing his HP in favor. Picks up the cannon minion just in time. Misses that one, however, but still 10 CS lead. Off the top of GBM, so still looking pretty good. Nice Peacemaker comes through, but now they're trading a bit more evenly despite the Doran's Blade advantage by Tucson.
Well,
so
GBM ran out of consumables, so
yeah,
now he can't keep sustaining like he had been earlier. These are his last charges of his Crystalline Flask. This is all he gets.
Yeah, this is also going to hurt his mana yet again, which is why he had the back in the first place. As we can see, he's got enough for, I believe, one piercing arrow, maybe a hail of arrows as well. I'm not too... Yeah, it looks like... I believe he can get both of those out, but even so, not nearly enough harass onto Tucson if he lands both of those spells to really do that much damage.
If he keeps walking into these Piltovers, that is...
Yeah.
I don't know. The mystery of the century is how does GBM get hit by so many Piltovers? Plus, he's tanking up that entire creep wave too, or at least the last 3 minions. So, yeah, not trades he's looking to make.
He's got to be really careful because the ace in the hole just came off cooldown here for Tucson. So, you know, if he gets a headshot off with a couple auto attacks, maybe another Piltover Peacemaker in there as well, with the ace in the hole, he'll be able to find the kill. Actually, the barrier's up, flashes. Dodges the shackles here. The barrier comes out. He fires back, gets a good amount of damage on the Tucson, but he's completely ooh and low himself. There's the ace in the hole. Eats it. Still going to live, but he's very much playing on dangerous grounds right now with his HP.
Barriers have been really questionable. GBM not really getting a lot of value out of either one of them. Might as well have gone with like a summoner to heal, because at least he'd be guaranteed to get that HP back, but with barrier, it's a little bit stronger than summoner heal as far as, you know, the amount of damage it blocks, but unfortunately he has not had the greatest experiences with those. Went back just a couple of seconds before his teleport was up, so I'm not sure exactly why he's going with that. Actually sold a Doran's Blade. No, he didn't sell a Doran's Blade. He just picked up a pickaxe, longsword, and 4 mana potions, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe that's just 1 mana potion. I can't exactly see.
I believe it's just 1 mana potion there. I don't think he had the gold to pick up the pickaxe, longsword, and multiples. I believe it left him probably with about 50 gold after that purchase, so he's only able to get the 1 mana pot.
Now, I believe Gank by Mom is actually up 1 minion. Is 1 minion ahead of the cutoff point. I think he's only like 9 minions behind. And with this pickaxe longsword, his abilities are gonna hurt. Tucson bought a giant spell. Oh my god. He just says, look, I am not gonna die here. Because he knows if he just stays alive in lane, he is gonna win this game.
Yeah, he's 98 to 90 CS right now. So, it's just a matter of time.
CS. Oh my gosh, is he gonna get it? No!
The
GBM
piercing
cleared
arrow.
out the minion wave. And now all he has to do is keep his CS up. And okay, now he's only 2 CS down? It's hard to calculate it.
4, and then if Tucson gets the 3 here, which it looks like he will.
Okay, he is 9.
Yeah, he needs 3 CS to win. Tucson needs 3 CS before GBM gets any. He's gonna have to be careful. The Defile
does have a ton of damage, though.
Yeah, the Defile dealing that percentage damage is going to hurt. He's down by 3. This is actually becoming a bit of a heated matchup now between these two. Misses that one.
This is actually really interesting. Tusin's Giants belt buy might have been pretty cool, but when it comes down to it, it is
crippling him.
And he's still getting hit by those piercing arrows. GBM does have a lot of pressure on him to keep his CS up, but he's now actually able to zone Tusin off the CS a little bit, which might just help him continue to stay just barely in this CS game. But man, it's so close, like down to the wire. And okay, he has to kill him underneath. I don't know. This is getting really dangerous because GBM can either just kill Tusin, kill the turret, or just keep killing CS and keep Tusin from ever getting that 10 CS advantage. Whoa, and this is actually going to be a kill for ganked by Mom.
Wow.
More aggression. That Giants belt gave Tusin a little bit of an advantage when he came back, but he could never get that 10 CS advantage.
Yeah, it actually harms him because, as we can see here, just really nice piercing arrow into the ultimate, lays down the hail, and just is able to find the kill.
Wow.
But the Giants belt pickup actually harmed Tusin because with the hyper-aggressive buys by GBM with the pickaxe and with the additional longsword, he was able to clear the waves faster and force Tusin underneath of his tower, and he was missing CS under tower. He missed probably in those last minutes a solid 5 or 6 CS, I would say, to the turret, which could have potentially cost him that victory right there. But well played, GBM will keep moving forward. The man that conquers Faker conquers Tusin as well, so he will advance.
Yeah, that was an incredibly close 1v1. And we will be getting an interview with Ganked by Mom here in just a second, so you don't want to miss that. It will be in Korean. I'll see if we can get some translation for that. But otherwise, one of the closest games that we've seen all day long. And actually, it really makes me love this 10 CS advantage rule. Previously, it was if you get to 100 CS, you just win. But if you have this 10 CS advantage, then there's that little bit of leeway. Ganked by Mom was just seconds away from losing, fractions of a second away from losing, but he was able to spam down on the wave and put so much pressure on Tusin that it was just a little bit too much to deal with. So, man, Achilleos, I don't know what to say. If every game's like that, I'm not going to make it, but hopefully we can see some more intense matchups.
Well, then we will we'll have to sacrifice you for those good matchups because I like to keep the hype up, so if we're going to see the rest of the games like that today, then I am all for it.
All right, well, we will be getting that interview with Ganked by Mom coming up here in just a second, hopefully. Here in a second, but that does give me an opportunity to let you guys know about the charity that the Solo King is supporting. You can see it right down below your screen. It is Extra Life. Helps support children's hospitals across the nation, and if you guys want to help donate to that, scroll right down below the screen, hit that donate button, and it'll go to a good cause. Of course, also, if you want to keep up with the Solo King, make sure to follow us on our GosuTV stream. You can see the follow button right down below the stream there. If you just want to click that, and it'll let you know whenever we go live with more Solo King action. So definitely something to do, because we do have the grand finals and semifinals coming up not too far after this. It'll be on the 8th of March.
Yeah.
So that's what is that? 5 days from now?
Yeah, that would be correct. 3 + 5 is 8.
Whoa! It's crazy math.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I will not be present for those final games. I will be watching with bated breath on my phone from the sanctity of my hotel at PAX East in Boston.
Oh man! All right, well. Some of us will be doing cool stuff, but here's the interview with Ganked by Mom. Enjoy it. We'll be right back.
진짜 축하드립니다.
네,
기분은
감사합니다.
어떠신가요?
기분 지금 너무 좋아요. 우승한 기분이에요, 벌써.
네. 오늘 그 저희 솔로킹 토너먼트에 래퍼들 복한규 해설께서 함께 합류를 해주셨는데요.
네.
진에어 갱맘 선수에 대한 이야기가 굉장히 많이 나왔었는데 그 중에 하나가 야쏘를 선택을 했을 때 이거는 갱맘 선수가 이기려고 승부수를 띄운 게 아니라 경기를 던지려고 야쏘를 픽했다라는 이야기가 있는데 이 부분에 대해서 어떻게 생각하십니까?
그게 그 밴 6개가 나왔잖아요.
네.
근데
6개 보니까 제가 할 게 없더라고요. 네. 적팀은 그레이브즈가 나왔는데
네.
막상 그레이브즈가 나오니까 이거 상대로 뭘 해야 되지 하니까 막 리산드라 해도 질 것 같고 뭐 아즈라 해도 질 것 같고 뭘 해도 질 것 같아서 그냥 막 고민 중이었는데 옆에서 창동이 형이 야수 어때 야수 이렇게 말하길래 야수 한번 픽했는데 픽이 되더라고요.
그 야수 픽하는 순간에 살짝 내심 기대도 했죠.
아니죠. 졌다 생각했죠 그거.
그래도 내심 나의 멋진 플레이로 이길 수 있지 않을까. 나의 멋진 벽으로 벅샷과 무관 희생자를 막으면서 멋있게 킬하지 않을까 이런 기대하지 않으셨나요?
그래도 그런 건 살짝 뽀록이기 때문에 그래도 어느 정도 예상은 했죠. 근데 좀 당황해서 룬하고 특성도 제대로 못 꼈거든요. 이게 파랑 뭐 특성도 제대로 못 끼고.
네.
그렇다고요.
자, 어쨌든 그 야수를 픽하면서 굉장히 많은 팬 여러분들께서 역시나 벽마스터는 다르구나 라는 거를 또 보여주셨는데 그 도대체 채팅방의 갱킹은 왜 가신 겁니까?
채팅방이요? 그냥 심심해서 많이
경기를 준비하면서 손을 좀 풀고 있는데 심심했다 뭐 이런 거죠.
네.
그러니까 좀 긴장감을 풀기 위해서 이게 시청자들과 이렇게 소통을 하는.
한간에는 그 뭐랄까 갱맘 선수가 자기가 프로게이머가 아니라 아이돌인 줄 착각한다 뭐 이런 의견도 있던데 어떻게 생각하시나요?
그냥 좀 저는 이런 걸 좀 즐기기 때문에 관종이죠. 그게 접니다. 그래서 많이들 좋아해 주시니까 저도 더 좋아할 수밖에 없었던 것 같아요. 그래서 계속 갔던 것 같아요.
네, 정말 긍정의 힘을 다시 한번 느낄 수 있었던 것 같아요.
채팅방에 들어가게 되면 아무래도 관심을 받을 수 있으니까 지속적으로 들어갔다라는 거고 그리고 이제 그 전에 저번 주 토요일이었나 용산에서 봤을 때 저번 주였나 아무튼 용산에서 봤을 때 뭐 그런 얘기를 했었잖아요. 누구 어떤 미드라이너가 CS를 굉장히 잘 먹는다라고 했을 때 이현우 해설이었나요? 네가 CS를 못 먹는 거잖아라고 그렇게 막 되받아 치시더라고요. 오늘 경기를 제가 현장에서 직접 해설을 해보니까 CS를 잘 못 먹는 것 같은데 어떻게 생각하세요?
또 그걸 예전부터 알고 있기 때문에 CS를 더 잘 먹도록 노력해야겠어요 앞으로. 너무 지금 이제
열심히 노력하겠다.
뭔가 강한 한 방의 대답을 좀 기대를 했는데 이걸 또 이렇게 순순히 받아들이시니까 기분이 좀 묘하네요. 자, 어쨌든 강 선수들을 조금 많이 꺾고 그리고 이제 4강에 진출을 하시게 되었는데 많은 팬 여러분들께서 갱맘 선수 응원하고 있습니다. 네, 감사의 한 말씀 마지막으로 부탁드리겠습니다.
오늘 좀 쫄깃한 경기를 보여드려서 나름 뿌듯하고요. 앞으로 채팅방 갱킹도 좀 가면서 같이 즐겁게 놀 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
네, 오늘 즐거움 주신 갱맘 선수 고맙습니다.
네, 감사합니다.
네, 감사합니다. 인터뷰에서도 굉장히 유쾌함이 느껴지는 선수예요.
And that's going to do it for our interview with Ganked by Moms. I want to thank him for his interview. And thank you guys for tuning in to the Solo King. That will be our next to last of our initial best of threes. Last best of three of at least this mini group stage will feature Ambition versus OQ. We'll get that game coming your way here in just a second, so make sure to stick around. When we come back, it'll be that best of three and, of course, 3 more. We decide the final 4 players will advance to the grand finals a little bit later on this week. Actually, I believe it is, in fact, next week. 5 days from now, we're having those finals coming your way, so you don't want to miss it. So stick around. We'll be right back with Ambition versus OQ and a whole lot more here on the Solo King.
Email your clips to top5lolfails@gmail.com.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Solo King, a Korean 1v1 tournament here, broadcast on Azubu TV. My name is Reed Rapid Melton. Joining me is Seth Achilleos King for our final initial best of 3 of the night. We'll have 3 more games to decide the last player to advance, but before we get to those, we've got to find out who is the Solo King between Ambition. Jungler for CJ Entis. He'll be going up against OQ, a guy that I actually predicted to win this entire tournament. Not that I don't have enough faith in Ganked by Mom. Played it a little bit close in that last series, but OQ has just been a monster. None of his series have been remotely close, specifically his last one versus Bengi. Didn't show any mercy in that one. So I'm excited to see how he fares here against Ambition.
Yeah, take down Bengi. then it's going to be difficult. We'll have to see what happens.
All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the final best of 3 of our initial set. It's Ambition versus OQ. Ambition, of course, playing Caitlyn. How that got through picks and bans, I don't know, but there's Chuds with his signature rocket jump flash. Starting out the game with a bang. Now, different build here for OQ, and he's done this in several versus 80 carry matchups, where he'll still start with some sustain, but buys a cloth armor. We'll see if he does this Zephyr strategy. Now, if you had missed the games that Zephyr played earlier on in the tournament, unfortunately, he didn't make it through here to the round of 6. But what he does is he walks all the way around between the wall and the enemy turret. And then once the enemy laner walks up into the creep wave to CS, just walks forward and just hits them over and over and over again with double ups. And they just lose the trade after that. We'll see what he goes for. Currently back in base buying some items.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this build is going to pay off for him. Like you said, we've seen him use it consistently, and I mean, it's been doing him wonders, but he is going up against Ambition, who is a fantastic player and a force to be reckoned with. He's also, for Ambition's side, opting to go for the Crystalline Flask. Doesn't want to go with the Doran's Blade, so he is scared of OQ's damage and wants to have as much sustain as possible. We'll have to see if OQ is able to utilize those double ups to the fullest of their ability. And if he can do that, that should make up for his lack of an aggressive item. So you can see he's playing forward, gets the first auto attack.
And that's kind of strange against Caitlyn, whose auto attack range is somewhat higher. So we'll have to check out the AD the attack damage differences. Ambition starting with 68 attack damage. Want to hit that headshot onto OQ, but see what this double up damage looks like. I haven't exactly checked the full AD score here for OQ to see what he was running with.
Yeah, waiting for that one to pop over. So far, so good, though. Dodges out the first tilt over Peacemaker. Already doing better than most other people that go up into this matchup between against the Caitlyn. So as long as he can keep doing that. Oh, and he already fails. All right.
Alright, I think I'm like a couple seconds ahead, so now I get to be the future. But does land a double up there onto Ambition, so nice to see those start to land. It's a good way to trade through the creep wave, and there's nobody else to block it like, you know, a support champion. It's another double up, gets those impure shots on, but won't be in range to do anything with them.
Yeah, taking a good amount of damage, both of these guys. CS still pretty much dead even, though. So this, I get the feeling, is going to end with a cataclysmic battle between OQ and Ambition. Maybe once we hit those level 6 marks, we'll see each of them popping out the ultimates. But you have to be careful if Ambition starts charging the ace in the hole, unless it's going to get the kill. OQ could start channeling his as well, and that is just, you know, a full couple seconds that he will have to channel onto Ambition, and he can put out a lot of damage in that time. So let's see what happens when we get to that point, if we get to that point, because these guys are playing hyper aggressive.
Yeah, and like you said, CS actually very even between 80 carries, and it should, whoa, walking up on him. OQ gonna get in range. Trades out those impure shots, and you can already see Ambition having a little bit of trouble with that. More importantly, impure shots on Ambition are really going to cut down his healing, because he's pretty much going to have that Crystalline Flask running for the majority of, well, until it runs out, I suppose.
Yeah, so he's out of that now, and OQ's potion actually finished out. So both of them pretty even, but Ambition still has those health potions as well, so he's going to be winning the sustained war unless...
Oh, double up through the minion wave. That is actually pretty long range. Always the reason I can't play this forward shooter is I always underestimate the double up distance, like how wide you can bend it on its targeting reticle and how far it's going to go afterwards, but not so for OQ, just continuing to land one after another through the minion wave.
Yeah, he's doing a good job of utilizing those. As you can see now, Ambition chugging his last potion. That one has expired now. So, both of them going to be out of sustain. Oki going to be very reliant on that cloth armor to help keep him in here. But yeah, so far, still even, 34-34.
All right, so when it comes down to it, double up's gonna hit Ambition there and takes another impure shot. All sustain gone for both of these carries. That pretty much means that we're not going to see anybody. I wouldn't expect any deaths here because both AD carries realized they're kind of low. Probably would opt to go back to base instead of playing as too riskily. And it looks like that is exactly what OQ is going to do.
Get spotted out by this scrying orb. Actually would have been in range for that Peacemaker, so good thing that he backed out a little bit further for the recall. It's going to give Ambition some time, though, to shove this wave in, but here comes the TP. Might miss.
Ooh, OQ actually didn't miss any CS off of that, so throws out a scrying orb of his own. Okay, he missed one.
Ah, missed one.
That was a little careless, but hit every other one. And he comes back to lane with double Doran's blades, sustained from potions, and a chain or cloth armor. And this is really where that cloth armor is going to start to hurt him, because it pretty much means that he'll be behind a Doran's item at every point in the game. Will that cloth armor, I guess theoretically, because it's percentage damage reduction from stacking up armor, the more AD Ambition buys, the more effective that cloth armor will be.
This is very true. It's also going to be down in HP in general because he just doesn't have that Doran's blade. So it kind of goes both ways. It you know, kind of equivalates to an extent. But we'll have to see what's going to happen here. Ambition not really opting to go in with the headshots for Harass. You know, more just using them to maintain his CS. Pretty much dead even still between these two, which is something that we haven't really seen today. There's always been a bit of a discrepancy. These guys are pretty much on the dot with each other.
Yeah, 2 CS lead for Ambition really doesn't mean a whole lot. Walking forward with that double up, and keep in mind, double up and those autos are going to apply the impure shots, so it's going to cut down on maybe a little bit of healing, but at this point, Ambition's starting to get enough healing from those triple Doran's blades, and you can just keep auto-attacking and really use minions as mini health batteries, getting all that lifesteal, but walking up on him, OQ is going to get a lot of those impure shots. Down there's the ultimate, trades it back and gets a nice extra double up off of it as well, but once again, walking right into the Piltover Peacemaker and an ace in the hole.
Yeah, so they're both going to have to you know, be chugging their potions at this point. They want to get their HP back up as quickly as possible now.
Oh, look at those double ups. That is dangerous.
Yeah, OQ really manipulating his positioning and just making sure that those double ups are going to land. He's really only missed a few. Majority definitely have been landing onto Ambition, so very good job by OQ thus far. One thing he does have to be cautious of, though, is that Ambition still does have the barrier. So if OQ wants to play forward again and get hyper-aggressive, he does have to deal with that barrier. But as we can see, so far, he's not having too much of a hard time harassing out.
A big difference between both of these AD carries and the previous 1v1 that we saw. A lot of times versus Caitlyn, you want to take barrier because it's good at dealing with ace in the holes, or aces in the hole rather. But it's not something that OQ has gone with. I'm not sure exactly why he would bring flash on Misfortune. Maybe it's so they can flash into range, into close range, and get rid of that range advantage that Ambition does have there. Because Ambition won't be able to flash away if he wants to go for it.
Yeah, I mean
OQ flash into a point-blank ultimate.
That's what I was about to say. That might be what he's intending, because that'll make it that much harder for Ambition to get out. I guess unless he runs through him. Depends on where. It depends on his positioning. He can't stand on top of him and cast it, because the frontal cone won't be wide enough to keep him in it the entire time. But if he keeps him at sort of a mid-range, like half an auto attack range, he should be able to keep him in the ultimate for almost the entire channel, unless Ambition can 90 caliber net to the side very quickly.
I think Ambition's finally figured out exactly where he needs to be. Whoa, a lot of damage from that ult coming out, but I don't know if that was the best usage of his mana. He got a little bit of damage down, but now he is almost out of mana, but Ambition almost out of health.
Yeah, really working him down. That heal reduction coming through, really just doing work for OQ completely. It's just, absolutely decimating Ambition. We're probably going to see, you know, the second backs here. We do have the teleport up for OQ. So you see Ambition maybe going to finish that channel.
See, I almost feel like this is the situation you want to save your ultimate for. Use that bullet time to just nuke the wave and head back to base, so that you can
deny him the CS.
There, yeah, and push the wave in your favor. And I mean, OQ was able to kill it, I guess, quickly enough. We'll be going back to base, and good thing for Misfortune is you don't even have to bring a teleport if you don't want to, just because you can run back to lane really quickly. Of course, it's always better to have that summoner spell to get back in here, but oh, look at Ambition, comes back to lane with a Vampiric Scepter.
This is where things get dangerous, because keep in mind, Ambition is now over 100 CS, and OQ is not yet coming back into lane. Just two more minions, and Ambition would be able to get that lead, but it looks like he's going to get in time to hit up some of these minions.
And he should get perfect CS here underneath the turret. Turret down to a little bit above at half HP too. So could see maybe an alternate win condition come in here. But yeah, like you mentioned, now actually only 2 CS separating both of these players, and see if any more gets denied here, as Caitlyn actually has to walk all the way back to lane instead of using that teleport.
Yeah, yet again, a perfectly good time to be able to use bullet time, but just doesn't have it.
Ambition actually did that because he had enough damage, or enough gold for a Bilgewater Cutlass. It's a little bit interesting. Not often that you see that ace in the hole comes out. It actually does not deal all that much damage. That cloth armor really showing how effective it can be.
Yeah, and those double ups showing how effective they are, is just ripping through chunks of Ambition. But I think we might see this one end at CS stalemate, unless they can really keep up their farming like they're doing such a good job of. This should pretty much equate the CS here if he gets these minions. But it looks like they might want to go aggressive. Trap comes down, doesn't land.
Beautiful double up there.
Yeah. Takes him down to half HP. He is going to be chugging these potions. Still has 5 health potions that he can use, plus that bilge water. So he's going to be in a pretty good spot as far as sustaining himself.
This double up spam is getting really annoying for Ambition. And now, oh, walking forward. Nice 90 caliber net.
He has the ulti.
OQ still walking forward. You can see he was thinking about it, but took a lot of damage walking back off of those auto attacks. So Ambition, now both 80 carries dead even on CS. This is going to be a nightmare to get that little bit of an advantage, and might actually motivate them to, while keeping up in CS, go for an alternate win condition, like killing a turret.
Or each other.
Or each
Damage
other.
comes out. Now the Piltover Peacemaker doesn't land, but as you can see, OQ taking a bit of damage.
But look at the lifesteal that Ambition has. There's no way that he's ever going to die unless OQ keeps on the pressure. But unfortunately, OQ won't be able to do that because he has less overall auto attack range. And I think Ambition might just have this one if it goes on long enough.
Well, Ambition's running really low on mana. He's going to have enough for a Piltover Peacemaker soon. If he doesn't have it already, I can't entirely... Okay, he's got it now. So if he can play to that advantage, sustain himself, if OQ can sustain himself with the Vampiric Scepter and his health potions, and then lay in damage through his abilities, then he should be okay.
OQ
but this is looking dangerous.
Yeah, he's actually, OQ just queued up 3 health potions in a row, so he wants to try to go for this, but does he have enough time to keep that sustain coming in? Because Ambition's actually denying him CS and trading out very well when he tries to come up and kill minions.
Yeah, the bullet time's still there, but he's just not in a position to get lethal damage onto Ambition. This is looking very bad.
Oh, and there's actually the flash force out. Ace in the hole comes out. It's first blood for Ambition.
Yeah, I made a desperate play. Tried to get the bullet time out to get some damage in, but it wasn't able to do enough, as we'll see in the replay coming up.
All right, yeah, gotta get the replay in here. Actually, dead even on gold too. Both 80 carries. There's a 10 gold difference between Ambition and OQ, and well, there you go. Not quite the replay we were looking for, but Ambition does take game number 1 versus OQ.
All right, so we'll have to see what OQ is able to do coming back into this one. Like you said, he was your pick to make it through and become the solo
Damn it.
king. But so far,
not looking good for our heroes.
Having a bit of a rough time. I'm sure that means that we're going to be seeing Caitlyn going right back onto the ban list. Or maybe OQ will want to try to pick up Caitlyn for himself.
Also, do want to mention that the guy on the right just did get confirmation from our mod live on the scene, Chudnator, says that is in fact Reapered. I knew it looked like him, but I wanted to make sure. It's nice to see Reapered kind of making a comeback, at least to the commentator desk here for the Solo King. Doing a little bit of guest casting as well.
We do welcome him, and it's in... I'm going to pretend that we're casting alongside him right now. Is what I'm going to do. We're all in the same room.
Yeah, we're just off to the side just a little bit.
Yeah, they cut us out of the shot, but it's okay. We forgive them.
All right, well that's gonna do it for game number 2, which means game 3 should be game number 1. Game 2 should be coming up here. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself.
Getting back into the future. You gotta stay in the present now.
I'm trying to pretend like OQ's won a game yet. We'll be seeing game 2 come up here in just a second. Miss Fortune had some good double up her ass, but just could not cut through the incredible sustain that Caitlyn had. It was a game of inches there towards the end as far as CS was concerned, but never really the kill potential that OQ wanted his Miss Fortune to have.
Yeah, and I mean, I suppose it does beg the question, would it have played out differently had he not gone for the cloth start? Maybe if he had done, more of an aggressive start with a Doran's Blade, or if he could have played it a bit differently as far as the sustained game goes with a Crystalline Flask. But we will not know unless we get the same exact matchup.
Maybe it goes to blind pick and they just do a rematch. All right, well, should be getting game number 2 up here on your screen in just a second. It looks like both players were added to the lobby, and I think we should have that up here. I want to see if OQ fixes his rune, or it wasn't OQ, it was Ambition that had, or was it OQ? I think it was OQ that had a point in dangerous game last game. So I want to see if they changed that up for the runes and masteries. But here we go. It's game number 2 on the way. First ban, Cassiopeia versus Ambition.
Okay, so fairly unsurprising. We've seen her banned out a bit and even picked a couple times. Very strong in those 1v1s, lots of range harass, especially with those dots from her poisons. And she's very good on mana efficiency. Kalista going to be the second ban coming out here, though. So not terribly surprising. OQ taking his time with the second one, however. Clock down to below 10 seconds.
All right, well,
Still not sure what he wants to do here.
I mean, Caitlyn is always a good ban, no matter where you are. I mean, even if you have first pick potential, like OQ does have this time, you might still just want to ban it so that he doesn't have to, worry about it being up. So this last ban for Ambition should be that Caitlyn, unless OQ decides to aggressively ban it. But in response, OQ, at this point, he knows that he's either going to get Caitlyn, or he can ban something that would do well against Caitlyn. I currently haven't seen too many things that do well against Caitlyn, but should be a last ban Caitlyn for Ambition.
We did see Varus have a decent showing in that first match earlier with GBM. But, yeah, actually, Nunu taken away, which I think has been close to 100% ban rate today.
Close to it, but
I think there was maybe one round or so, maybe one or two, where it didn't.
Yeah, I think the real reason that Nunu was so popular is because the players in those specific matches had won games with
gods
Nunu
at it.
Yeah, so they had won games with Nunu before, so it makes a little bit of sense. And whoa, Ambition giving the Caitlyn over to OQ, no hesitation.
Banning Maokai.
I don't know about the Maokai pick.
Yeah, that one's really intriguing to me.
We've only seen one Maokai in the Solo King, and I believe it did lose its matchup, so now looking for what Ambition is going to go to. You can expect an AD carry pick here, and with Lucian banned, Graves is up, and that would be, I guess, a decent pick, but the range advantage is still there for OQ, so not sure exactly what he wants to go for.
Yeah, it's a really risky play if you go Graves. You do have Brunt Power behind you, and also as long as you can stay in combat, you'll have that additional armor to help you mitigate the auto attack harass that you're going to be receiving from Caitlyn. But you have to play so far forward as Graves to really get your damage out, so it'd be really risky for him to do that. Ezreal wouldn't be too bad of a choice, but looks like we might have the Graves.
All right, well, here we go. Graves versus Caitlyn matchup. Ambition. This time he's facing the champion that he just picked, so not ban. I don't know in what world Maokai is a better pick, or is a better ban than Caitlyn is. So a little bit questionable there on the ban list, but as far as AD carries go, two of the best picked up here. Maybe Lucian, maybe a slightly better pick than Graves. At least we've seen that do very well in the Solo King as well. So now we get a chance to see whether or not they've amended their rune pages here. Because actually, Ganked by Mom said when he in his second game to come back from his initial loss versus Tucson, he actually said in his interview that he didn't have good Yasuo runes, but one of his teammates was pestering him to play Yasuo. He said, play Yasuo. So he did play Yasuo, even though he didn't have the greatest rune page for it. And I think that's what we were talking about as far as like the confusion about CDR runes in the page. It was, I guess, okay. But, I mean, he made it work, and now we get to see if Ambition can make Graves work against OQ's Caitlyn. If I had to, like, I mean, keep in mind, OQ is one of the star AD carries in Korea at the moment, so it's not like you can expect any one of his AD carries to be any less than amazing. So, on the best AD carry in the tournament, it'll be interesting to see how he does.
Yeah, I'm going to have to side with you on this one going into the match. I think OQ has the upper hand, but we'll have to see what they're rocking here in the rune pages.
Trying to see exactly what the differences are. I believe that is 4.5. Okay, so it's attack speed and AD in quintessences, and then a little bit of extra AD from Reds there as well as attack speed. If you look at the runes and masteries, or masteries at least, yeah, good mastery choices here. 2 points in Warlord. Maybe not the most cost-effective, but probably more so than anything else.
Yeah, overall, nothing too shocking in here. Good for the mana sustain.
All right, so swapping things over, there's 4.5%. Is that lifesteal? I want to say that's lifesteal.
Looks like it.
And now we get to see the mastery page that actually no points in utility for that 3 points in mana regen, which I mean we've seen pretty common as far as you know, things like Caitlyn, like a lot of AD carries that want to spam their spells on the wave to get the shove advantage early. And it's interesting to see the full 3 points in Warlord being picked up there at the very end by Ambition. So that was not something I've ever seen before. I don't think I've seen 3 points in Warlord yet, but it does mean that he is going to get as much bonus AD as possible as he does go to stack that up.
Yeah, I mean, the more AD, the better, especially when you're playing on a you know, a character like that, Caitlyn. So, this is going to be an interesting matchup. I think that this could be one of the more hype games of the day. It's because we do have the Graves playing from behind, really, just in raw matchup stats.
He's playing from behind in stats, but as far as the score goes, actually ahead 1-0 versus OQ. So Ambition out AD carrying the AD carry.
Well, we'll have to see if that's able to, if he's able to maintain that, or if we're gonna go to another blind pick game, which is always great, always interesting to see.
And you know when we're going to see that, Achilleos?
When?
I was going to say right now, but it looks like we're going to take a little bit longer to load in the game. Make sure to hit the follow button right down below the screen. Check out our charity of choice, Extra Life, down there as well if you feel so inclined to donate. And of course, stick around because when we come back, it'll be a game that may possibly decide OQ's fate in the Solo King. We'll see if he is here in just a second. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Solo King here on Azubu TV. My name is Rapid. Joining me is, I was about to say Ambition because I was reading his name off the screen. You are not Ambition. Somewhat worse at League of Legends, Achilleos. At least I hope you're worse at League of Legends. If you're better than Ambition, then you better get over to Korea.
Yeah, I've been making some really poor life decisions as far as my
Why are you not a pro
path.
gamer yet?
Because I just enjoy casting that much more, alright? You know? That's just the way it is. No, I am indeed worse than Ambition.
I think a lot of people in that same category. So wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah, I don't feel too bad about it.
Sneaky strats from OQ. He bought a scrying orb and immediately used it on the summoning platform. It reminds me of those good old days back in like season 1, season 2, where you'd start the game with clairvoyance, and then clairvoyance the enemy's starting platform to see either which lane they were going to or what their opening item buys were. He's kind of doing the same thing, bringing back those old school strats here in season 5.
A little throwback to that. As we can see, we are going to have double crystalline flask starts. Ambition waiting around a bit longer, wants to get a little bit of that extra gold as the wave comes out.
And no more cloth armor starts.
Yeah.
I don't know, I was not a big fan of that. It was an interesting idea because OQ realized he was going to have to get up into melee range to make up that range disadvantage that he had on Misfortune versus Caitlyn. But at the same time, he just wasn't able to get that finally enough gold for a, what was that, a Bilgewater Cutlass that Ambition finished the game with. Just really, really effective buy.
Yeah, any damage that he was mitigating was just made up for by the amount of damage that Ambition was able to put out in a quick amount of time. As you can see, Buckshot already coming out, ripping off a good chunk, but he takes a headshot for it. So they trade a little bit even, go back to CSing.
And this is all made possible by OQ actually being in lane before Ambition. OQ went without that 150 extra HP from getting an extra potion. Stayed in lane, got the push advantage, but Ambition actually stayed in base and got an extra potion to come back in here. But this will give the level advantage to OQ. See if he can make up that potion disadvantage.
Yeah, and he's going to need that extra potion. As we can see, Ambition already taking a heck of a lot of damage and harass from OQ. But he fires back. He's getting these buckshots just on the edge. But still doing a decent amount of damage to OQ. You can see losing some CS, though, under tower. That would actually put him ahead. He lost 2 right there. Now he's down by 1. Dodging built over Peacemakers, though, so that's always a good sign.
And hitting with buckshots, too, so kind of the same situation where you're looking for, you know, which spammable AD carry Q gets the most value here. Should be Caitlyn's, but...
It's absolutely going to be Caitlyn's unless Ambition can play more forward, but until he gets some more items, until he gets something, you know, really aggressive, he's not going to be able to do that, because if he gets up in the face of OQ, he's just going to get poked right back out. As you can see, he's already dangerously low. A headshot with a Peacemaker could actually do him in, but it's not going to land.
Oh, if that Piltover Peacemaker had been saved, OQ might have been able to pick up a kill there off of that Caitlyn trick. And it's going to send Ambition back to base way ahead of schedule. He's only level 3 with 18 CS, and he's already headed back to base.
Yeah, that is going to be pretty crippling. Looks like OQ might go ahead back alongside him. TP will be burned. This might enable him to catch up a little bit. He's only down by 3 CS. Nothing too significant there, but as you can see, he has been getting bullied out. They come back in. Doran's Blade each, but several more potions on the side of OQ, and they trade back and forth. He's in the smoke bomb, but Ambition being just ripped down. He takes the turret shot. This could be the series right here. Does he have the Nightingale Burnett? No, he doesn't. Piltover Peacemaker doesn't come across. The barrier pop nonetheless from Ambition, and that's going to have to be another back unless he wants to just sit here, get denied minions, and just rely on his potions to regen him.
Well, this is not what you're looking for. Ambition trapped underneath his turret, and I don't know, man. This is not a situation he's going to want to be in. He does have, like we said, that potion advantage, so he's got slightly more sustain. But that's a terrible position to be in, because now walking forward, he's going to force out that barrier. Ambition walking, running for the hills, running for the brushes. He's on the run. Can he get this executed? And he's built over. Peacemaker snipes him down. And it's Ambition winning game number 1, but losing this game number 2 to OQ's Caitlyn.
Yeah, we can see, like, he tried to play forward here, but OQ realized that he had the advantage. He's just has the damage. He's able to poke him out. Graves doesn't really hit a power spike in lane really until you get a BF sword or a pickaxe. Those you want to be your first buys. That's where you really get your power. But in the 1v1, you're really not going to be able to do that, especially for a first buy. So OQ, with the just increased range, able to poke him down and take a game away. So that's going to mean that we're moving into my favorite thing, which is that blind pick 3rd round between these two players. So I think it'll be fairly unsurprising if we see a double Caitlyn game coming out in this next matchup.
Yeah, I don't expect that we'll see anything else, and while that could lead to some pretty boring just AFK Farm Simulator 2015, I definitely think that both of these players have something in common. Maybe we'll see another one of those blind pick Lee Sin versus Lee Sin games. Always a big fan of those.
Yeah. We haven't seen any oddball choices today, really.
That's true. It's always been very, very meta picks.
Yeah, lots of ADCs.
Nothing too out of the ordinary.
I guess the Annie and the Lulu were like the two that were a little bit that differentiated from the rest. Otherwise, we've just seen a lot of ADC action today. Actually, I guess the strangest thing that we've seen today was that Maokai ban. Just now from Ambition. I still don't understand that.
Yeah, the Maokai ban that allowed OQ to get Caitlyn, still somewhat questionable. Wound up losing to the champion he let through the ban phase, so you can't argue with that. And so when it comes to blind pick, we're gonna find out who the better AD carry is, which is a weird question to ask when OQ is involved. He's been putting up big numbers. Remember the very first game I watched him play versus SK Telecom T1. I think that was the first game of Champions this season. He put up huge numbers, and it was versus Faker. So, well, I mean, versus Faker's team. It was versus Bang in lane, but you get the idea.
Some picks. Here we are. No hover from Ambition yet. Garen hover from OQ. That would be one of the oddball ones.
Something tells me this is not going to get locked in. But Ambition locking in a Cassiopeia. Now, that's actually really interesting because he's shying away from the AD carries that we've seen be so prevalent. But I mean, as OQ, he's shown that he's an incredible AD carry over and over again. Does he go with the Caitlyn pick? Locking in Azir here would be absolutely terrible. Azir having been nerfed pretty significantly. Down to like a 30 to 40 win % ratio in solo queue. Probably not the best champion to bring in here. Although, you know, in the 1v1, things do change.
Yeah, but against the Cassiopeia, Emperor's Divide not going to net you too much unless you can knock him into your tower. But Ambition's not nearly that careless. So not surprising that we won't see that one coming in. As we can see, it looks like OQ is going to hover the ADCs. And we're going to go ahead and fall on the Misfortune.
Alright, Misfortune. OQ loves this champion in the 1v1s. He picked it game 1 and lost with it, and so I am initially skeptical. And I think the reason he's picking Misfortune here is because he's predicting that it's going to be a versus AD carry matchup. So he's saying, alright, I'm going to pick Misfortune instead of Caitlyn to sort of mind game it against the Caitlyn pick. Maybe sort of a rematch of game number 1, but it's not what he's going to get. He is kind of on the ropes here.
Yeah, going in against the Cass. As far as this matchup goes, I don't know. How do you feel about this? I feel like it really could honestly go either way. I feel like it's a bit more reliant on OQ to land the double ups, and if he can't do that, then Ambition's Cassiopeia is kind of going to take the cake.
I think Cassiopeia is maybe with a slight advantage, has a lot of mana sustain in lane off of Aspect of the Serpent, the way that Twin Fangs refunds mana when you kill a poisoned minion. Twin Fang's range is 700. So you'd have, that's longer than even Caitlyn's range would be. So if you get poisoned, Ambition should be able to kite OQ effectively. We'll see whether or not his micro is up to par. OQ did first ban Ambition's Cassiopeia in the last game, so it's a pick he knows he's worried about. So for OQ, it does look like he's actually using 1.5% lifesteal here. So it has 1 lifesteal rune, and then a couple of AD runes afterwards. So he's definitely looking for that double up value. And once again, 3 points in Warlord, so as much AD as possible. Maybe look for that late game pickaxe buy.
If you get to that point, we didn't quite get there in the last matchup, so we'll see if he's able to farm up enough and stay in here long enough to get that buy. This, I feel like this game could either go on for a very long time, or it's going to end very, very quickly with a harass from Cassiopeia in that level 3 to 5 range.
All right, now for ambitions or ambitions, rune page, fairly standard. Mastery page, 4 points in cooldown reduction. Usually you see at least some attack speed in there just to make CSing a little bit easier, but fairly standard. Once again, no dangerous game picked up there, and 6 points in defense, 3 points in utility. Also fairly standard there as well.
Alright, well, nothing too shocking. We'll have to see if they're able to shock us with their play. Cass versus Misfortune, going to be one heck of a matchup, and of course this is going to determine which of these guys is going to go into the losers bracket.
Alright, yeah, this is double elimination semi-round robin. We'll get a chance to see who advances. Is it OQ? Is it Ambition? Make sure to leave your prediction in chat if you're watching, and we'll check those out. Let's go ahead and get into our final matchup, this best of 3. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Solo King, a Korean 1v1 tournament here on Azubu TV. My name is Rapid. My cohort in casting crime is Achilleos, and we're getting into our last game of this best of 3 series between Ambition. Now that I've seen how Ambition spells his name in game, I can't stop thinking of him as Arnbition.
Arnbition, yeah.
Anymore. There's actually a guy in North American solo queue named Timo. But it's not actually Timo, it's Tierno, because he does the same thing with the R and the N completing it.
Ah, clever.
Very clever. But it's Misfortune versus Cassiopeia, and I don't think this is quite such a great matchup for OQ. Talked about that range advantage for Cassiopeia on the Twin Fangs, 700 range on that ability.
Yep.
So if OQ gets poisoned, it is going to be a rough spot. Cassiopeia did just get nerfed a little bit. Twin Fangs now cost, I think, 90 mana at max ranks, so that is going to be a pretty difficult thing to avoid.
Yeah, we'll have to see how this one goes. I'm really interested. I'm trying to figure out how I think this one's going to end. Whether it'll be by kill or by farm. I feel like it's going to be a first blood game. The round 3s usually are. You get the red in the eyes as you realize you're on the verge of getting knocked into the losers bracket.
Now, earlier on in the tournament, I believe it was actually one of Bengi's games that he played. He played a game against, I think it was Peanut's Cassiopeia. Peanut, the Najin sub. But he played a game versus Peanut, and Peanut played Cassiopeia. Bengi wound up winning that series, but in a very, very clutch bit of micro. Came down to avoiding Cassiopeia's ultimate, and Bengi was still able to deal damage while walking sideways to avoid the Cassiopeia ultimate. Really, really difficult to do, and he he managed to pull it off. So that's gonna definitely be something to keep an eye on once both these players hit level 6, avoiding that Cassiopeia ultimate, which is almost certainly going to result in pretty bad time. Now, one disadvantage that Cassiopeia will have is sustain, because OQ is going to pick that up from not only the flash start, but probably from the Doran's blades that he will inevitably buy. And it'll be interesting to see if CJ Arnbition can make it up, play aggressively enough to both keep the CS coming his way under turret.
Yeah, well, I'm not quite sure how that one's going to go for him. He's already been chugging some potions and some of his crystalline flask charges. The double ups have been doing work. OQ utilizing them quite well. I believe he's only really missed one on Ambition, who has otherwise been missing a good amount of these noxious blasts.
And right as you say that, he gets one. So
yeah,
yeah,
Cassacre, sorry.
It's a little bit back and forth, but that is kind of the meta. It's do you hit your noxious blasts and go in for damage, or do you go for a more aggressive way of playing and just go for the Twin Fangs without poisoning the guy. Twin Fangs do cost a lot of mana, and so when you want to chain them back to back, you need a ton of mana to do it, and that's why recommended items for Cassiopeia usually include either a Tear of the Goddess into Archangels or Rod of Ages, but not going to be able to afford either one of those. If Ambition comes back to lane with a Tear of the Goddess, I am going to laugh and laugh, but instead probably just going to see Doran's ring.
Yeah, it'd be very surprising if we saw that one. I feel like a Chalice would even be a bit more likely than the Tear of the Goddess. As we can see, though, OQ playing forward, trying to lead some damage into Ambition, but he fires back and takes him down to about half HP. Currently has a little bit of mana advantage, especially when he gets those refunds off the Twin Fang. But as we can see, OQ a bit ahead. Each going to get these minions here, but it's going to put him 5 up over top of Ambition so far.
Okay, so the biggest thing to watch out for is probably going to be CS. CS thinks something that 80 carries do better than almost any other role, and versus Cassiopeia here, you can see Ambition starting to struggle a little bit. He's down about 6 or 7 CS here, already at 4.5 minutes, but is continuing to land those poisons on to OQ.
He was continuing to land those double shots, which is making all the difference for him. He still has a couple potions, looks like. His Ambition only has the one double shot, doesn't land. Nice Noxious Blast takes OQ down to about 50%. It's going to force him to chug yet again. Oh, but that double shot.
That double shot, continuing to dish out the harass, and Ambition does have enough potions to sustain through quite a bit more of that. He's keeping himself relatively healthy. He hasn't hit that 100 stacks on his I always forget what that's called. His aspect of the serpent. Yeah. Once he does hit 100 stacks, he'll actually get a little bit of HP back whenever he uses Twin Fangs. So that could definitely be a source of sustain that helps make up the difference from not actually being able to buy lifesteal items like OQ can.
Yeah, and that's also going to be one of the big reasons why we will almost certainly see him pick up the Doran's rings instead of any other item, because that'll directly impact how much HP he's getting back. I believe it's about 10% of your AP, I forget. And then you get like plus 6 HP.
Yeah, it's a 0.10 or 0.1 AP ratio, so you don't get all that much scaling off of it, but starts out with 6 HP back, so you're going to get about 10 HP back every single time you cast a Twin Fang.
Yeah, it's a decent refund. It's also going to increase his ability power by 5% when he gets that increase. Actually, Bullet Time coming out will clear out the way for OQ and stop Ambition's back. It's a nice double shot there. And now, actually, OQ getting some good damage in on the tower. Ambition just trying to clear out the wave as best as he can with these Noxious Blasts and the Twin Fangs. But tower going to be just above 50% HP here for OQ, so very nice push.
Yeah, Ambition's ability to CS under turret there is actually really impressive. Able to get almost all of that CS, but does still find himself about 10 CS behind, and it's not that he's able to go back to base, it's that OQ actually let him go back to base. And is going to come back from base himself. Okay, I thought he was actually just going to run all the way back, but he will use that teleport. Going back to lane with triple Doran's blades and a longsword.
Yeah, but immediately immediately is just getting ripped into.
Wow.
Ambition, a nice number of Twin Fangs coming out.
Holy cow, that was... OQ did not expect that much aggression off of just landing one Noxious Blast.
Yeah, that was insane. He actually doubled up. He doubled up and got 2 Noxious Blasts off in between, and that allowed him to keep channeling the Twin Fangs on that 0.5-second cooldown. Really good aggression coming in from Ambition. Says, you know what? I have some AP now. I'm going to hurt you.
Now, no points put into... Oh, actually, no, just 1 point put into Miasma for Ambition. So if he really, really wants to land those Twin Fangs, might go for Miasma instead of Noxious Blast. Does cost a little bit more mana. Actually, it does not. Miasma only 40 mana. And as maxed out as Twin Fangs are, that's going to be the real mana drain for him right now.
Yeah, but luckily he does have that borderline insane amount of refund that he gets off of those when he kills a minion that's poisoned. So that's going to be able to keep his mana up. As we can see, he's now full mana. Eats a little bit of that bullet time, but not too much coming out. Doesn't even clear the wave. OQ fires back a little bit.
Oh, nice dodge there.
Yeah.
Misses both Miasma and Noxious Blast. And trades back with a double up. So OQ, why is he going back to base now? I think he wants a Vampiric Scepter. And he recognizes that he shoved the wave, so it's a good opportunity. Yeah, there's the Vamp Scepter, and he should be able to walk back into lane before Ambition can shove the wave back to his turret.
Yeah, the Strut passive is going to do wonders for him in that regard, so it's certainly going to help him get back. So that's another reason why Misfortune is an excellent pick for these 1v1s. I mean, depending on your matchup, because she can get back into lane, isn't entirely dependent on the teleport. Nice double up. We'll take a good chunk off of Ambition. And yeah, that Vamp Scepter pickup is going to start doing wonders for OQ. But actually, here we go. Nice trade back.
Oh my
Ultimate
goodness.
does not come across.
And OQ might actually just die here, forced to flash behind the turret. Ambition had flashed for another Twin Fangs. He might have been able to pick up the kill, but wow, OQ just walks back into lane and takes so much damage from Ambition every single time.
Yeah, this is going to be very difficult for him. He's already chugging Crystalline Flask Charge. Is going to follow those up with some potions as soon as that one falls, but it's going to make it difficult for him to even get in and CS these minions, get these minions.
And I think that Make It Rain just put all of those minions out of CS range for him. So, wow, that was really difficult. And look at the CS difference. It's actually now in Ambition's favor after putting on so much aggression. OQ just really can't get into range.
Yeah, wow, these Twin Fangs absolutely just ripping through him. He fires back, takes a good chunk off of Ambition.
Ooh, turret shot on Ambition, though.
Yeah.
Really turned it back around. And now it's actually OQ who might just have the sustained advantage after coming back with that Vampiric Scepter. Ambition has hit post 100 stacks, so he does have the ability to gain health off of using Twin Fangs. A little bit of sustain in both parts.
The big thing to watch for here is that also OQ does have bullet time available. And if he can pin Ambition into a corner and cast it, it'll be very difficult for him to get out. It'll force his flash for sure. He's getting dangerously low, but so is that turret. If he can shove the wave, if Ambition backs, the teleport is not quite up yet. He delays it. The TP is going to be up, but this could give him the amount of time that he needs to get some real damage in on the tower and maybe win.
Alright, so Ambition is going to be forced to use this opportunity to practice his under-turret CS mechanics. Misses a Twin Fangs, is trying to get that damage down. Ambition does have ult up in 2 seconds, that double up! Oh my god.
That's
kind of close. Sub 40 CS there. Ambition taking the ride on the wild side, but will make it out alive.
Yeah,
does have teleport too for both players, so they'll be able to get back in lane. Wait, what? That's Catalyst the Protector.
At this point in the matchup, that's really
I mean, honestly, what else are you going to buy? Catalyst costs 1,200 gold, so he could have actually gone for something along the lines of like a Hex Tech Revolver.
Or a Blasting Wand for just some flat AP.
Yeah, that Blasting Wand idea is actually not a bad option. Just getting so much AP that if you ever land poison on OQ, he's just dead.
Yeah, I mean, we see how much damage he just put into him with a few Twin Fangs and a Noxious Blast. If he had a Blasting Wand on top of that, he actually could have had close to lethal. Well, I would have taken him down quite low, but now as we can see, Ambition just needs 5 more CS, 4 more CS. He's going to be able to get these 2. But Oki's going to be able to fire back. And CS underneath of his tower. This will help him get back in a bit. But he might just force some minions, and he does!
Oh my god, we were going to see the two minions, 1 more CS, and he's going to get it! Wait, did he get that? Yeah, that was a 100 CS advantage, yeah.
He cast the Petrifying Gaze to finish off the minions. Let's see if we'll get a replay of that, but yeah, cast Petrifying Gaze just to get the last minions in, hit 108 as OQ is at 98.
Wow. Well, I guess it doesn't get much closer than that. Although, to be fair, we did actually have the same situation earlier in our previous best of 3 with Ganked by Mom, so man, these games have been close today, but that was pretty incredible to watch. So congratulations, that will be OQ's misfortune failing him not once but twice.
Yeah.
Interesting champion choices, and now out of the Solo King, but not for long. He does have the opportunity to come back and make it into one of those last few spots. We're gonna have the losers play the losers, the winners play the winners, and see which players advance out of this group.
Yeah, everything is now on the line for Okio. He's gonna have to play his next matchup very carefully. Hopefully this time he'll decide to just take the Caitlyn when it's available, because that might have netted him a bit of an easier time against that Cassiopeia with the increased range. But who knows? It's all in the past now, and it's all about moving forward, so we'll have to see who OQ is going to be playing in that losers bracket.
Yeah, and unsure exactly how they're going to do the seeding for the losers bracket. They had it up on stream earlier.
Mm-hmm.
We'll
but it
exactly
wasn't Korean, so
that is true. My Korean somewhat subpar. In just in case. So let me actually make sure that I have the right information. And get that up for you here in just a second. So as far as the way that this playoff match is going to work, in the round of 6, the losers from the round of 6 will compete in a round robin to get back into the tournament. So basically, if you won today, then you're already through. So for instance, Ambition just won that matchup, so Ambition's going through. And for all of our matchups today, the winner will advance. So we have Ambition advancing. We also have Tucson, or GBM advancing over Tucson, and or Someday advancing over Pure. So those 3 players will advance, and now we get to see the losers of those rounds. So we get to see Pure, Tucson, and now OQ battle it out in a round robin fashion to make it back into the tournament.
All right, this is going to be really stressful, I guess is the word. This is where everything is on the line. If these guys want to advance, then they're going to have to make sure that they're winning those games. And of course, it's new opponents, so new picks and bans. Hopefully we'll get more oddball selections coming out. That was our first Cassiopeia that we were able to see in a while. Looks like we have an interview.
네, 안녕하세요.
네, 안녕하세요. 경기 수고하셨고요. 승리하신 소감 한 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다.
솔직히 이길 줄 몰랐거든요. 그냥 뭐 승패 상관없이 그냥 솔직히 지려고 마음먹은 것도 아니고 그냥 최선을 다하자 그냥 이 생각으로만 했어요.
최선을 다하자는 마인드로 경기를 하셨다고. 근데 또 워낙에 너무 잘하셨잖아요, 그죠?
그렇습니다. 확실히 이제 앰비션 선수가 잘했던 것은 게임을 1대1을 운영으로 몰고 가면서 승리를 거머쥐었다는 건데, 그 코코 선수를 이기셨잖아요.
네.
코코 선수를 이기셨는데 미드 정글이 교체가 된다는 설이 있어요. 코코 선수가 이제 정글을 연습한다는 설이 있는데
그런 부분은 솔직히 이게 뭐 라인전도 아니고 그냥 좋은 캐릭으로 CS만 먹어도 이기는데 이거는 그냥 그거랑은 아무 상관없는 것 같아요.
그렇죠. 사실 웃자고 하는 소리죠. 네.
정말 그 정도로 앰비션 선수와 코코 선수의 그런 경기가 굉장히 이슈가 됐었고, 그리고 방금 전 경기에서도 낮은 선수를 상대로 또 승리를 거머쥐었기 때문에 앰비션 선수가 또 앞으로 얼마나 더 멋진 모습을 보여줄지에 대한 기대도 굉장히 많은 것이 사실입니다. 사실 앰비션 선수가 그렇게 정글러를 굉장히 많이 힘들게 했었던 미드였다, 뭐 이런 이야기도 있었는데 지금 정글러로서 굉장히 멋진 모습 보여주셨는데 그래도 오랜만에 그 미드에서 라인전 하셔보셨는데 기분 어떠셨나요?
일때 이게 되게 별것도 아닌데 되게 긴장되더라고요.
네.
진짜 이게 좀 대회 때 경기 시작하기 전에 되게 많이 긴장되거든요.
네.
그런 느낌을 되게 많이 받아서 진짜 좀 멘탈이 좀 강해지는 것 같아요.
사실 이게 솔로킹 토너먼트가 별게 아닌 게 아니라 별개예요. 왜냐면 이게 사실 뭐 그냥 팀 게임이고 LOL이 팀 게임이고 뭐 5대5 게임이니까 뭐 그냥 1대1은 별 의미 없다라고 선수들이 생각하긴 해요.
네.
생각하긴 하는데 막상 또 이제 대회에서 만나는 애들이랑 만나잖아.
네.
그러면은 지기 싫은데 그 프로게이머들 기본적으로 프로게이머가 되는 선수들이 그 자격이 하나 있는 게 승부욕이거든요. 승부욕이 없으면은 프로게이머가 되지 못해요. 거기까지 올라올 수도 없고.
네.
확실히 그 승부욕을 불태우는 1대1 승부는 별겁니다. 별게 아닌 게 아니에요.
사실 뭐랄까 많은 팬 여러분들께서 최고의 솔로킹을 가리는 자리이니만큼 뭔가 굉장히 부담도 되셨을 것 같은데 어떠셨나요?
일단 뭐 제가 그 라인 그 모드가 제가 뭐 잘한다고 자신이 있는 것도 아니고 이게 실력이라고도 생각 안 해서 그런 부담은 솔직히 없는데 근데 그런 부담이 없어도 은근히 긴장은 되더라고요. 이게 보는 사람이 많아서 그런지 몰라도 네, 아무튼 이제 이게 다음 경기가 주말인가요?
네, 저희 다음 경기가 언제죠? 일요일 날? 네, 주말입니다.
이게 솔직히 그것 때문에 좀 이기고 싶지 않긴 했어요. 솔직히 말해서.
나의 휴일의 시간을 빼앗아가는
네.
솔로킹.
네.
그래서 이게 좀 일정을 좀 평일로 바꿔주시면 좋을 텐데 뭐 일단 일요일에 해야 되는데 일단 그때도 최선은 다 해야죠.
네. 아무래도 뭐랄까 개인적인 스케줄에 아쉬움은 있을지
그렇죠.
몰라도 앰비션 선수의 플레이로 인해서 많은 CJ 엔투스의 팬 여러분들 그리고 앰비션 선수의 팬 여러분들이 굉장히 눈과 마음이 즐거웠습니다. 자, 기대하고 계시는 우리 팬 여러분들께 마지막으로 인사 한 말씀, 각오 한 말씀 부탁드립니다.
일단 이번에 IM이랑 나진전 준비하고 있는데
네.
일단 팬들이 걱정이 많으실 것 같아요. 그런 걱정을 실을 수 있는 그런 경기력 준비해서 좋은 성적 내겠습니다.
네, 감사합니다. 우리 CJ 앰비션 선수였습니다. 고맙습니다. 네, 자 이렇게 해서 인터뷰를 해봤는데 앰비션 선수가 상당히
Alright, that is going to do it for our player interview with Ambition. We're coming back after a short commercial break with the remainder of the tournament. It'll feature a round-robin style elimination match between all three of the players who have lost today. They will play against each other for a chance at the final spot in the round of 4. Semifinals will be coming up on the 8th, so in order to make sure that you don't miss any of the action, make sure to hit that follow button right down below your screen. That'll let you know whenever we go live with more Solo King action, and of course there's also a charity. We're doing the Solo King for a good cause, and we do appreciate your support for the Extra Life charity. They provide support for children's hospitals across the nation, and so we do want to mention that to you. If you can give, we certainly appreciate it if you do. You can find more information about the Extra Life charities right down below the screen. We'll be right back with our first of the elimination matches coming your way, so stick around. Once again, this is the Solo King on Azubu TV.
기다리가 이제 뭐 버그가 있긴 했는데요. 오늘 이제 새벽에
안 그러면 굉장히 또 외형적으로만 봐도 아파 보이거든요. 이거 올립니다.
일단 맞췄죠? 지금 또 맞아가지고 이거
들어오나요?
잘 안 맞추고 가비랑 초공격장 치열하게 들어갔어요.
아, 이러면
일단 앞쪽이에요.
자, 이거
입장 타이밍은 오겠죠.
지금이네요.
입장 타이밍.
오, 화났어 지금.
이거 아프거든요.
더 하면 입장이 차이가 만나고 있는데. 짧았죠.
여기서 역으로 다른 방 들어갈 수 있거든요.
전면 생각해야죠. 자. 미연을 먹는데 절반은 여기서 한번 우역부 정말 지금은 마그담이었죠. 뭐야 또 무빙 맞아 저 전면 피하고 괜찮아요?
이걸 당하지 않으려면 라인을 밀고 집에 가야 돼요.
그러면은 석화의 음치를 야 뒷부분
너무 영리한데요.
근데 여기서 마무리를 정면
자신이 좋아하는 사실 그렇죠. 그거를 생각을 해야
그렇기 때문에 일단은 어느 정도
한번
이창 괜찮아요. 괜찮아요.
저만 걸고
좋거든요 이거.
승부수
전면 피해야죠.
자, 이러면 루시안과 애니의 경기가 펼쳐지죠.
끌어야겠죠.
네. 위험한데요?
아니 그렇죠. 방금 이런 플레이가 가능한 게 티버가 없잖아요. 전멸? 오 이거
최상수
이거 들어갑니까?
마무리
한방
아니네요.
보호막이 아니 이거 빼놓은
이제 미니언의 타이죠. 그렇죠. 이제 미니언의 타이죠.
이거 이유는 놀랬죠.
서 있어요.
자, 먼저 잠시 CJ 엔터테인먼트 강창현 선수.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Solo King, a Korean 1v1 tournament here on Azubu TV. My name is Reed Rapid Melton. Joining me is Seth Kilios King, and we are getting into our losers bracket to determine the final player who will advance to join the players who have won here tonight. So the players who have advanced so far in the Solo King have been Someday, Ganked by Mom, and Ambition. So we'll have a sort of round-robin style between the remaining players who did lose their previous matchups. I'll have them coming back on your stream here in just a second. Of course, you got a chance to at least glimpse the champion choices there before we are actually going to get into this game, hopefully here in just a second. So stick around, we'll be right back. And just like that, here we are. So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our first elimination match of the round of 6. It's Tucson versus Pure. About to get underway.
And this is going to be one heck of a game. Double Yasuo.
All right, now this is a deliberate choice, so you can tell that there have been some communication. Tucson and Pure, they're not on the same team, or you might say that they coordinated this maybe a little bit more colloquially, but they're gonna go Yasuo versus Yasuo in the first game of the day. I am hitting 45, 46, 47 seconds, so hopefully that means we're still synced up.
Right in there. I'm back in the future a little bit.
Okay, well, hopefully it is just a little bit. We'll have to see how...
Yeah, nothing too significant.
Okay. This is so weird. Pure is not respecting this rule. He's like, you get back to your turret, and you get back there now. No mercy from Pure.
Yeah, just gonna go ahead and just auto-attack him a good little bit. Work him down, but nothing gonna come of that whatsoever. Just some general attacks, and of course Chuds with his rocket jump, the staple beginning for him.
Yeah, you never wonder about what Chuds is going to start with. So, getting back into an actual 1v1, this is Doran's Blade versus Doran's Blade. Might have thought that we were going to see a longsword with 3 health potions, but the 2 health potions that you get back are not quite as good as just the straight up combat effectiveness that a Doran's Blade gives you. So, both Yasuo's in the mid lane, Flash Ignite on both sides too. This is kind of a pride match between Pure and Tucson. Who is the better Yasuo? Who is the solo king?
Well, we are gonna find out, as we can see in the lane now. And the CSing has begun. Tucson with a massive 3 CS lead.
He's got the Tucson CS lead right now. I just mirrored ability usage on both sides. This is gonna be crazy. If they both somehow manage to ult each other at the same time, I'm gonna go bonkers. So we'll see if that is actually even possible.
I don't think it is.
We might not even get there, as we are trading very aggressively this early on. Ignite already used on the Tucson. Pure, a little bit scared there.
Yeah, burning that out as you see both of them just trading back and forth with these knockups. Tucson, though, is just playing a very, very dangerous game as he's taken just so low right now.
Oh yeah, Tucson cannot walk back up there. He doesn't have to worry about Ignite, but that's 1 crit and he just straight up dies. Also, unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to see the rune and mastery setup, but one disadvantage that Yasuo players have is that you actually can't run critical strike chance runes. It's one of the rules of the tournament to help prevent the RNG from being too devastating. But oh my god, Tucson! Wow. He has to go back now. That means he's gonna miss out on a cannon minion. And this might just be the disadvantage that loses him this game. Of course, keep in mind, no teleport on either side.
Yeah, it's going to be a very long and slow walk back to the lane. As we can see, it looks like Pure going to go ahead and recall as well, though.
Double the CS, too.
Yeah, 16-8. That is a fantastic start for him.
Oh, and Tucson only able to afford... Oh, this is crushing. Only
potions,
able to afford potions.
Yeah. The other thing that's really interesting here is he got a sweeper.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the sweeper is for. I think he might have been looking for maybe an extra CS if Pure had put down a ward.
That, or he wants to deny vision with it, perhaps? I don't know.
How? I mean...
You maybe throw it over top of yourself or whatever, and then it like stops the vision. I don't know. Interesting.
Ships passing in the night there in mid lane. Both Yasuo's zipping around. Tucson by far doing getting the worst end of these trades. Is down an entire Doran's Blade, which is just crushing in the 1v1 matchup.
Yeah, he's at such an advantage right now. You know,
full wave advantage too. So I mean, Tucson was able to at least clear out that wave of minions. We'll see if he can get through another one and maybe go back to base. But yeah, he is significantly far behind.
Yeah, he needs to back as soon as he possibly can to get behind him. But even so, it's still just going to put him that much further behind. This is a really rough start for him.
Ooh, misses that Steel Tempest too. That might have given him a slight advantage. Though does get a nice knock up there on to Pure. Pure walking forward. Oh no, he dashed through him and he can't get back away. So this actually should
Forces
mean
a flash.
Yeah, flash forced out.
Yeah, wow, just being absolutely bullied right now, and of course the CS lead just swinging right back to Pure. It was only
Tucson can't walk towards his rear minion line because if he does, Pure's just gonna dash through the minions, get the jump on him, and it's kind of all over from there. No flash for Tucson, but no ignite for Pure for a few more seconds.
yeah, a few more seconds might be all that Pure needs, though. Tucson playing a very dangerous game. I thought he was going to commit right there. Not quite. Wind wall will come out and it'll stop that tornado from getting the knock up. Get that damage. But, oh, we might have a fight on our hands.
Okay, level 5 versus level 5. No level 6s. There is the ignite coming out. Knock up. One more auto attack and...
Wow.
Oh my goodness, he just barely missed it. Tucson somehow makes it out alive.
That Steel Tempest range is notoriously short. Able to walk right out of that barely. One more tick of ignite as well would have finished him off. That was so close. But that is just, you know, a testament to how hard of a time Tucson is going to keep having in this matchup against Pure, who is just absolutely dominating. As we can see, Tucson now with 3 Doran's blades, but nearly 20 CS behind. And Pure with the cloth armor.
Yeah, thought about buying boots there for a second. Boots wouldn't be a terrible decision because it would allow you to chase your opponent, but you have to go for the combat stats in what is going to be such a clutch, you know, 1v1. You're never going to pick up a kill as a Yasuo just barely. It's always going to be, you know, you guys just run at each other, and kind of the classic samurai duel is like both players run at each other, and one of them dies.
The other receives an honorable death.
And an honorable elimination from the tournament if they lose one more game than this one. Okay, nice wind wall there. Pure will have that spell down, so if Tucson can get up another wind wall, or another knockup from the Steel Tempest, we'll be able to go in on this. Level 6 versus level 6, so those ults are going to be very, very crucial.
Yeah, now that we hit this point, this could be what Tucson needed to, you know, swing the game back. As far as damage goes, they are pretty much even. That slight level advantage for Pure, but he'll be hitting 7 very soon for Tucson. Needs a turret shot, however, here, and a lot of damage coming out onto him.
Yeah, Pure does not have Ignite. Tucson does. So if Tucson can get the knockup, no, there it is! Reggaeton! There we go.
Yep, and that is, wow, yeah, just well played by Pure here. Gosu realizes how much of an advantage he has over top of him. Nice knockup. Windwall doing absolutely nothing for Tucson. Gets thrown down. But yeah, Pure picking up a win.
Guess you could say that was Tucson's last breath. Anyway, that's going to be game number 1 in the books. Game 2 should be coming up here in just a second, but this is elimination match. If you lose this best of 3, you are out of the Solo King. Winner doesn't get a trip to the finals just yet. They will have to face the winner of our second best of 3 series that'll be coming up a little bit later on. So still a chance to advance, but this is a round robin matchup, so you'll get a chance to play every single possible combination of these last 3 players, and the one that comes up with the better record will advance to play in I think is Sunday's match. It's on the 15th. Sunday. Or no, it's on the 8th. I was like, wait a second, going a little bit too far in my week. Yeah, it's on the 8th. So we'll have Sunday, Ganked by Mom, Ambition, and the winner of this final best of 3, or not final best of 3, final round robin, final 3 best of 3s. There you go.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we're gonna keep seeing the interesting matchups like this. The double Yasuo is always really fun because it's such a mechanical matchup. You know, double Lee Sin would also be excellent. I wouldn't mind another dodgeball match either. But anything but double ADC, God.
Yeah, double ADC can be a little bit rough, especially when it's like that blind pick third game mirror match, Caitlyn versus Caitlyn. We've had one of those already, and it was one of the longest games of this entire tournament. So, yeah, double ADC can be a marathon match, but when it comes down to it, Yasuo 1v1s are pretty exciting too.
Yeah. Much less of a tennis match like double ADCs are.
So here we go, game number 2 underway, and
okay, We'll have to see where Tucson wants to go. That's not gonna make it through. So far with the hovers, we might be having a double ADC.
You know what? I did not realize these are actually best of ones. That was.
Oh, you're right. That was. Oh yeah, OQ's moved in now. All I looked was at was Tucson. So oh wow, okay. So best of ones, and the player with the best record will go out on top. So.
All right. Well, I guess that's one way to do it. So it's Tucson versus OQ blind pick. So this is an interesting way to decide the last player in the tournament, I suppose. Neither one knows what the other is picking. Do they go with the Caitlyn versus Caitlyn? Tucson is picking up Draven, or at least thinking about it so far. 20 seconds left for OQ to choose.
I feel like that would be one of the first Ravens that we've seen, if I'm not mistaken. I don't believe we've seen one, at least not in the latter half of the group stages.
And there it is, it's locked in for Tucson, so we will see Draven versus question mark. Is it Caitlyn? OQ.
Yes, it is.
All right, there we go. Not going to go with that Misfortune. Misfortune into Draven would be pretty crazy. But it's definitely a better option to pick the Caitlyn here. OQ going with the sure thing. Lost a very narrow two-game set versus Ambition, and now he is looking for blood. So Tucson has made its way this far into the tournament. It'll be interesting to see what he can do versus OQ. Of course, also blind pick means that neither one of the players knows exactly what they're facing up against until now.
Yeah, they get onto that loading screen, and that's the, like I said, that's either the Eureka or the damn it moment for these guys.
How do you think this matchup's going to go? I haven't seen Draven played competitively for a while, at least versus Caitlyn's.
It's so... I don't know. I have to mull it over. I'll mull it over while we look at these runes and masteries.
All right, so for Tucson, he's got that same page he went with before. He has armor, attack speed, HP, and physical damage. Now for his runes or his mastery setup, no points in anything that doesn't matter, like dangerous game. So pretty standard there. And now we're gonna go check out OQ. 4.5%, and I can only imagine that that's lifesteal, but it's not. Okay, so it's not lifesteal. That's attack speed because he only has one of those, or a couple of those, one of those quintessences. A lot of damage in there instead. No points in utility for mana regeneration. Nope, it is just the 21-9-0. Same exact setup that we saw on our other rune page. 3 points in Warlord as well.
Yeah, so yet again, opting to go for the 3 points. Which is a little bit more unique from what we see, but if it works, it works. So we will have to see if it works. As we get ready to move into this next one. But I've been thinking about it, and I'm indifferent.
You're indifferent?
It's like you said, this is a matchup that we really don't see too often. I feel like as long as Draven can manage the axe catching, as long as he can consistently be getting his axes, he should be okay. But the problem with that is if he's constantly going for axe catches, that's going to give a very clear target for harass, because you'll know, as the enemy, you know where the axes are going to land, so you can direct your abilities at those.
Well, I guess the downside for Draven is that he doesn't have a passive, because if he gets a kill to activate his passive, he's already won the game. But
that's also true. He has that one ability.
On the other side, for Caitlyn, might not have an ultimate if she uses it too close if it gets stopped by the whirling blades. So maybe an opportunity to stand aside. We'll see how it works out. Let's get in the game. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Solo King, where we are in our best of one blind pick elimination matches to determine our final player that'll make it to join the likes of Ambition, Someday, and Ganked by Mom in our grand finals that'll be happening on the 8th. So if you haven't followed the channel yet, go ahead and do it. Stick around for our round robin matches here tonight. OQ versus Tucson, the next one up on the docket. My name is Rapid, with me is Achilleos, and we'll be getting into the lane phase here in just a second.
Yep, as we can see, actually, OQ going for the cloth.
Man, OQ does this all the time.
He really enjoys the safety. And this is just extra surprising because he's playing the Caitlyn. He has the ranged advantage. I guess he's just that worried about the spinning blades damage.
Well, theoretically, if you have exactly the same attack damage and one person and somebody hits you and you hit them back, the only problem is he might not have accounted. I'm not sure why he's doing this. He's just losing the match. Okay, there's not a lot of mystery there. You lose when you get hit by those spinning axes. Now, Draven doesn't have a short auto attack range by any means, but the biggest problem is that, you know, he actually has damage. He's got that lifesteal in lane as well on the Doran's blade. So OQ needs to get enough of an advantage off of this lane phase so that he can go back to base and not be behind a significant amount of items. We saw that in the last game. Being behind just one Doran's blade is a huge disadvantage this early.
Yeah, it really spells disaster for you. This is the type of game where you need to be even or above. Anything other than that, and you're likely going to lose. We'll have to see if OQ is able to utilize Caitlyn to the best of her abilities and get some harass in on Tucson. So far, they're mostly just opting to go ahead and CS. Piltover Peacemaker does come across.
But man, every single one of these axes that hits OQ is just going to be ridiculous. And but watch Tucson, he's just going to walk up on him. Like, OQ cannot trade back in that lane, but with the advantage that OQ does have is the sustain advantage. So he will have the ability to just sit back in his turret, play a little bit more passively, use that range for some safety, and pop more potions than Tucson has. Of course, only came to lane with one. Wow, that Piltover Peacemaker did not look like it hit. That was pretty close. And even though Tucson does straight up one more damage, you can see that sustain starting to kick in.
Yeah, it's turning it back on its head, chugging those potions as much as possible. Actually, ooh, a good amount of damage coming out here.
Oh man, if that was a headshot, OQ would have flashed in on that. And it is teleport flash the summoner spell choices for both AD carries.
Yeah, probably for the best. It's the staple for your summoner spells. Definitely the safest that you can go. Of course, we have seen barrier taken against the Caitlyn, but they were going into this blind, so he didn't necessarily know that it was going to be against Caitlyn.
Ooh, and Tucson comes back to lane with a crystalline flask and nothing but a crystalline flask. That is, that's not going to cut it. This is a Doran's blade by, there for OQ. He'll teleport back in and Doran's blade versus Doran's blade, but OQ's got that cloth armor. Now you start to realize, CSing that last second creep with a Piltover Peacemaker. But yeah, this is where you start to realize that the effectiveness of the cloth armor. He got enough of an advantage in lane to where now he's even on aggressive items, still has sustain from just potions, and a cloth armor to make these trades go further in his favor.
Yeah, so some good foresight by OQ. Understanding this matchup and how it could go for him. He's trying to utilize these headshots to get some damage in, but has to opt for the minions instead. Ward not going to get taken down here.
Ooh, close, but no cigar. And it is a warding totem for both players, so no No crazy shenanigans like getting an extra CS off of a ward. Might see Tucson buy a sweeping lens when he goes back to base.
That would be our second one today, I believe. Just a lot of wards and then the scrying orbs. So I'm actually kind of surprised that we don't see a scrying orb coming out here for OQ yet. Suppose he could opt to buy one a little bit later once he gets that ace in the hole.
Okay, thank you. Direct to camera. Teemo is cute, but also back in base. But so for OQ, he's just has to play this lane kind of slow and steady, wins the race.
Oh my!
Tucson is probably pretty dead there. Oh, forces out that flash. Tucson not gonna risk getting hit by that and killed.
Yeah, this is really bad for Tucson. Actually, wow.
Oh my god, he killed him with a 90 caliber net. That is some style points right there.
Yeah.
OQ.
Fancy feet by OQ.
Alright, here we're gonna get a quick instant replay of this. We got the flash, auto attack, 90 caliber net for the kill. Oh my god. Alright, OQ putting the cherry on top there at the end. Picking up that kill on a 2-set and moving one game closer to the finals of the Solo King. Now, if I'm not mistaken, OQ will play Pure for the last spot in the tournament. So we'll get a chance to see if that is in fact the case. No guarantees. Still a little bit new to this round robin elimination format, so we'll see what's going on.
Shouldn't take us too long to find out what's going on. We just gotta wait for them to get set up in that next game. But wow, so the dream is not yet dead. Rapid, you may very well see OQ right back in.
I mean, I did believe in OQ from the very beginning. I was a little bit more skeptical about Gank by Mom. Of course, he did have to play against Faker, but won that matchup 2-0, and now coming into the finals, well, he's already into it. He took the easy route, winning his 1v1 previously, and now for OQ, dream is still alive. Still balanced on the narrowest of precipices. Precipices? I don't know.
I believe it's precipices, but edges works as well. Much more fluid and easy to say. But yeah, still has a little bit of a ways to go before he's out of the woods here. But we'll have to see what's going to happen.
I just want to see this next best of one. Of course, they're best of one. There are blind pick matches, so you don't get a chance to know what your opponent's bringing at you. We've seen AD, AP champions, even some tank champions work. Saw a pretty impressive tank Scion game earlier. Was against an AD carry and just didn't AD care. He just bought Doran's shield level 1 and had so many tank stats that he just didn't take damage. Cleared the wave instantly and said, hey, now you guys gotta go kill the minions.
I believe he won that matchup, right?
He did. So we have seen a couple of Scions just because of how tanky, how much damage he can resist. But it is a different style of play, and it definitely takes a different player. So for OQ, you should probably see nothing but AD carries here. So let's go ahead and get into our last match. I believe it should be coming up on your screen here in just a second. It will decide the player who will join the rest of the 3 winners in the finals. Of course, that is on the 8th. And if you haven't done it yet, make sure to hit that follow button right down below the screen. I'll let you know when we go live with the Solo King Grand Finals on the 8th, so you don't want to miss those. Also do want to give a quick plug to our the charity that the Solo King is supporting. You can scroll right down below the screen and see it is Extra Life. They provide support for children's hospitals across the nation, so make sure to go ahead, click on that, and it'll take you to some more information about that, as well as the donation link, which is how you can show your support for that. We definitely appreciate that. So let's go ahead and get into our final matchup. It should be coming up on the screen here in just a second. And there we go. OQ versus Pure. A 1v1 blind. No, that's locked in. That is a lock-in on Urgots.
I'm not sure why, but Urgot is always like one of those characters that you just happen to always see in the 1v1s.
You know, he's not a bad 1v1 champion. The problems are he's very immobile, so if you play him like top lane, he just gets ganked a lot. But wait, what? Holy crap, what is this matchup? It's Urgot versus Elise. We've seen an Urgot played previously, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I can remember who played that Urgot previously. It's not coming to me.
It's one of the Group C players. I forget exactly who it was.
Oh, it was Bengi. Bengi played it versus Peanut. And I wound up winning that matchup 2-0. So we've already seen one Urgot. I'll have to see if we can see what Elise does. 0 Elise games so far, and I'm not sure exactly why you'd pick Elise. She does have some sustain off of Skittering Frenzy. But as a melee champion in Spider form, I wouldn't expect to see her be in that form all that often. Also, landing cocoons in a lane phase matchup is still going to be kind of difficult to do.
Yeah, this is a really interesting pick, and probably the most interesting one that we're seeing today. The Elise pickup.
One trick that you could do if your opponent is behind his turret, you could go for the turret dive, get off your damage, and then repel off to the Wraith camp to get out of turret range.
That's a good point. That would be a very flashy play to make. A good way to...
So let's check this out. For OQ, he's gone ahead and picked up runes I can't understand. I saw some armor, attack damage, and other. So interesting to see what he's got here. Maybe some mana regen mixed in there. For mastery, as you can see, spell weaving, blade weaving, both picked up. A very essential part of a balanced Urgot breakfast. Look at these masteries. Made a little bit more sense that time. So a lot of penetration, and as far as that's AD and AP picked up. This is first hybrid Elise I have ever seen.
Yeah, I guess he's trying to balance the damage between. Well, even then, it doesn't really make too much sense. Because they try to balance the damage between the melee attacks with the spiders and just the damage in spider form, and then your other abilities. But all of the abilities scale off of magic damage.
Yeah, they scale off AP, so you'd expect the AD just to either make lasting a little bit easier, or to trade in human form auto attacks as well. But not all inning on the AP like you'd expect. I thought he was gonna go for some super cheesy, like start out the game with like 80 ability power, and then just walk up and one-shot the guy with your double execute damage. Not something quite that crazy, but it is going to be an interesting matchup, and our last matchup of the night. It'll be Pure versus OQ to determine the last player make it to the Solo King Grand Finals. Looks like we'll be seeing that matchup start here in not too long. So make sure to stick around. This will be the last match of the night. So if you made it this far, then thank you for joining us. Let's go ahead and get into game. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Solo King here on Azubu TV. My name is Rapid. With me is Achilleos and Pure and OQ. Of course, we don't get to advance on to the grand finals. We're going to leave that up to them.
Yeah, this is the match that is potentially deciding it all for these guys. Figures out if they're going to move forward or not. Of course, we have two interesting choices of champions coming up this time. Our first Elise that we're seeing in this tournament, and our second or third Urgot, maybe? I forget exactly how many we've seen so far, but it's not too many. There's few and far between.
And you know what's going to decide this matchup, Achilleos? The number of legs. So OQ was like, all right, legs win it, so he's never skipped a leg day in his life, and he has got 4 of them. So 4 legs versus 2, that's gonna win. Unless Pure transforms into spider form, then he's got 8 versus 4, double the number of legs, and of course that would then win the matchup, of course. So we'll have to see how that works out. Spider versus spider crab thing.
Crab, yeah, crab got.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't have the crab god skin.
Oh well, unfortunate indeed. So no crab god skin, but we do have a victorious Elise. Not quite victorious yet.
Well,
Wait, that was the I think that's victorious Elise. If
Yes,
I'm not
it is.
mistaken. Okay, not up on my Elise skins. Elise somewhat out of the.
How
League of
dare
Legends
you?
meta. She came back for a little bit while Sustain was so essential in the jungle. You used to see a lot of Elise being played, but has taken a trip on the retirement bench. So let's go ahead and see how this works out. First Asset Hunter of the game does land.
Yeah, trading back some auto attacks, goes into spider form, leaps forward.
Oh, and those spiderlings actually dealing a decent amount of damage to OQ.
Yeah, I guess that would be the AD, the hybrid build coming in here. Of course, you know, you do need to cast more abilities to get more spiderlings back up each time you transform. So we're gonna have to see her throw out the, Pure throw out the neurotoxin, jumps back in, doing some good damage.
Yeah,
but...
OQ really needs to hit level 2 before he goes in for these trades. While he does have the big thing about Noxie and Corrosive Charge, which should be his second ability picked up here. No, goes for the Terror Capacitor. So just wants that shield in lane. It's not really going to do much if you put it on while you're not taking damage, though. So, and kind of interested to see why he didn't go for the ability to have his missiles lock on. Like, that's one of the big reasons that you pick Urgot, is so that you can hit the other guy while he can't hit you. It's rocket science.
Yeah, it's, I guess, a bit of a... I'm trying to think of the correct word here, but a misworry for OQ. He was more worried about mitigating the damage that he was taking rather than getting the damage that he needed to fend Pure off. So I guess it works out for him either way. He doesn't take too much more damage. He does have that level 3. Doesn't get the lock on, but there's level 3 as well for Pure.
And I guess one option, taking that shield, the Terror Capacitor, does give him is it means that he's going to win a 1v1 trade no matter what. The all-in is made even less effective, and oh, there it is. Ooh, Noxie and Corrosive Charge down on Pure behind the turret. Does mean that OQ can't walk near the turret because you take turret aggro from it.
Yep, like he just did.
Yeah, so doesn't want to have that happen, but ooh, rough job CSing a turret. Now OQ up double Pure's CS, and this is the last game that matters. You win this matchup, you make it to the grand finals. Ooh, Repel trying to get in onto there just to avoid that Acid Hunter damage.
Yeah, throws a cocoon, doesn't land. Would have been, well, probably wouldn't have been able to make too much of a play off of it at this point. Pure is just very low, no potions whatsoever. Completely burned out of those, and we might have to see him back soon, but he doesn't have teleport. He has actually Flash Ignite. I don't know if we touched on that earlier, but really, you know, running for the all-in, but he's just really not able to find it at this point. Cocoon lands, but yeah, nothing coming of that Acid Hunters. Those lock on, just
see what Pure is fighting for here is more than just winning this 1v1 and being the solo king. Maybe there's like a deal that he gets Kane's spot on the roster. Whoa, flashes that Noxie and Corrosive Charge. He's gonna have to take an early trip back to base. Keep in mind it is Flash Ignite for Pure, so no teleport. He's gonna have to walk his way very, very slowly back to lane.
Yeah, there's really nothing for him to be able to speed up his return. Nothing that he can leap to. So you can see OQ does go back as well, comes in, teleports back, double Doran's Blade now. There's just one Doran's Ring pickup for Pure. A couple potions will help him sustain a bit more, but he's going to be taking that much more damage from OQ's Urgot now. This could, unless we get some flashy plays coming in from Pure, this could already be in the bag for OQ, who's looking quite good right now.
Yeah, it's double Doran's items for both players, but by far the more The more solidified stance in the mid lane there for OQ. Not only does he have Terror Capacitor, he's got Barrier as his last remaining summoner spell.
Yeah.
And with that much safety, there's really no way Pure is ever going to get a lot of value off of these double execute damage from Toxic Venom and or Toxic
Neurotoxin.
Neurotoxin.
And Venomous Bite.
They're
also
there's
confusing.
Toxins, there's Venom, there's all kinds of craziness going on here. Level 6 versus level 5 didn't quite flip him into turret range. OQ eating a lot of damage there and still didn't go for the barrier.
Yeah, still holds on
for
to
a
it.
rainy day.
Yeah, so burns out the ignite. So it doesn't have that. That's going to cancel a lot of Pure's aggression now. This is going to allow for OQ to just go ahead, keep shoving up the lanes. We can see now 52 to 27 for CS.
Wow, yeah, big difference in
decimating.
Well, technically, it's not 1/10 of the CS, so it's not actually decimated Achilles.
Oh, this man right here with his...
For shame. For shame. All right, so 6 versus 6. No ultimate, though, for Pure is going to be kind of a disadvantage. He's going in. He's got no minions on his side. It's 3-1 as far as the minion battle. There's the barrier. There's the kill. It's OQ. Grabbing his the last kill that mattered here in the in the round of 6, the Solo King. You can just see, look at that damage. He doesn't have to worry about missing Acid Hunters. Just hits him point blank. Hits the barrier for moral support. And there it is. OQ with a win over Pure will be the last remaining player to advance to face Someday, Ambition, and Ganked by Mom in the final 4, the semifinals of the Solo King coming up on the 8th, so you don't want to miss those. Like Achilles.
Well, to be fair, PAX East is also a good time. Like I said, I will certainly
I'm just trying to hide my jealousy, so don't worry.
It's alright. I have my passes sitting right here on my desk.
Oh
they look
gosh.
They look so pretty. Now, but I will certainly be tuning in and watching from Boston. The good thing is you don't have to endure the cold that is Boston.
Well, I mean, I do have to endure the cold that is the southern United States right now, but all that aside, I do not have to endure the cold, harsh truth of being eliminated from the Solo King. As far as eliminatees go, do want to give a special thanks to the players who played today but did not win, and that was I believe Pure, Tucson, and yeah, I guess it was just Pure and Tucson who didn't make it through. So we will be seeing Ambition, OQ, Ganked by Mom, and Someday a little bit later on. Not someday, on the 8th. Didn't work the way I wanted it to.
It honestly took me like 3 solid seconds. I was like, wait, what? Oh, no, he didn't.
What a note to go out on. So in the meantime, make sure you follow the channel right down below the screen. Also, make sure to donate to our Extra Life charity if you can. You can find information about that down below as well. And make sure to tune in on the 8th for the semifinals and grand finals of the Solo King. It's been a lot of 1v1s, guys, so you do not want to miss it. We'll have 4 of the best 1v1 players in Korea. They'll be coming up on the 8th as well. Do want to give a quick thanks to Achilles for having joined me today. This will be the last time you guys hear him on the Solo King. So thanks, man. It's been great to have. It's been great to not be the Solo King for a change.
Yeah, it's been great to be on and to cast this. A lot of exciting matches have gone through, and it's a very unique experience. I don't know if I will get to cast something quite as fun as this and quite as unique as this for a while, but I think we do have a interview coming in with our winner.
Yeah, all right, we're gonna get an interview with OQ. I'll have that on your stream here in just a second.
약 1,766만 원을 놓고 순위 경쟁에 들어갑니다. 이제 코리아 솔로킹 자리가 정말 남지 않았어요.
야, 이제 정말 순위권이고 4강 순위권 여기서 1등이 나오는 게 정말 그 한 끗 차이 아니겠습니까? 네. 그 한 끗 차이의 경기를 보는 그 묘미, 네. 그 매력, 이게 또 솔로킹 토너먼트의 그 매력 아니겠습니까?
그렇습니다. 그리고 굉장히 많은 e스포츠 관계자들이 또 집중을 하더라고요. 제가 스케줄 갈 때마다 코리아 솔로킹 토너먼트에 대한 이야기도 굉장히 많이 해주셨는데 또 몸소 그 모든 과정을 함께 보셨잖아요.
어떻게 보면 제가 산증인이죠.
네.
네, 뭐 옥규 선수의 그런 인터뷰도 봤고. 네.
자, 그러면 오늘의 정말 멋진 주역 마지막 4강의 네 번째 자리에 오른 낮은 옥규 선수를 만나보도록 하겠습니다. 옥규 선수 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
네, 조금 좋은 목소리 좀 많이 들려주시길 부탁드리면서 오늘 인터뷰 시작하기 전에 옥규 선수 부탁이 있습니다.
네.
인터뷰 중에 네 아니오는 절대로 하지 않기로 약속해주시고 인터뷰 진행하겠습니다. 고민한다.
네, 알겠습니다.
네, 알겠습니다. 자, 일단 많은 팬 여러분들께서 낮은 옥규 선수와의 인터뷰 그리고 옥규 선수의 그 승전보를 기대하셨는데요. 일단 지금 기분 어떠신지 궁금합니다.
지금 올라가도 약간 다음 선수들을 다 잘해가지고 약간 별로 이겨도 질 것 같아서 그렇게 좋진 않아요.
일단은 마지막 그 결승에 올라가기 전에 4강전에 CJ 앰비션 선수와 맞대결을 하게 되겠는데요. CJ 앰비션 선수와의 대결 어떨 것 같습니까?
제가 2대0으로 이길 것 같아요.
오. 자, 강한 자신감을 일단 내비쳤는데요. 일단 이것에 대한 이야기는 잠시 뒤로 하고 방금 전 마지막 세트에서 낮은 퓨어 선수와의 그런 부부싸움이 잠깐 있었는데 혹시 어떤 이야기를 좀 나누셨나요? 퓨어 선수랑.
그냥 처음에는 미러전 할까 했는데 약간 미러전 이 형이 저번에 루시안 미러전 이긴 적이 있어서 그래서 약간 겁나서 제가 루시안 미러전 하지 말자 했어요.
네, 말씀해주세요.
네.
안 하기로 했잖아요.
네.
어쨌든 말씀하신 건 어쨌든 루시안 미러전을 하려고 했었는데 살짝 무서워서 피했다. 자, 그러면 우르곳은 조금 뭐랄까 준비한 카드이신가요?
아니요. 아예 생각도 안 하고 있었는데 챔피언을 몇 개 있나 보고 있었는데 갑자기 우르곳이 보이는 거예요. 그래서 그냥 왠지 엄청 셀 것 같아서 그냥 즉석으로 했어요.
그냥
그 외모에서 보이는 포스가 남다르시거든요.
네.
약간 전우엽의 운명의 물음을 받은 것 같은.
갑자기 빛나 보이는 우르곳이. 자, 근데 가장 궁금했었던 게 사실 그 스킬을 찍을 때 뭐 여러 가지를 뭐 찍을 수 있었음에도 불구하고 그 보호막을 찍은 이유가 실수였나요? 아니면 의도된 스킬 투자였나요?
2레벨 때요?
네. 2레벨 때 이제 보호막을 갑자기 찍으시면서 바로 사용을 하셨잖아요.
네, 실수예요 그거.
자, 그러나 실수는 했으나 어쨌든 퓨어 선수를 상대로 이겼는데 퓨어 선수한테 좀 한 말씀 해주신다면요.
진선이 형이랑 그래도 이왕 올라간 거 같이 한번 올라가 보고 싶었는데 이렇게 돼서 제가 올라가서 그냥 제가 그나마 같이 우승해서 맛있는 거 사줘야죠.
뭘 사주실 예정이신가요? 우승을 만약에 하게 된다면.
네, 우승하면은 소고기 사야죠 팀원들한테.
와, 이거 뭐 복한교 해설이 말씀하시던 거랑 완전 다른데요?
이거 아까 전에 치킨 얘기하던 저희가 갑자기 소인배가 되는.
근데 네, 그럴 수 있죠. 사람마다 다른 거니까요.
사람마다 기준은 다르니까.
그 낮에는 인원수가 굉장히 많은 걸로 기억을 하거든요.
네,
인원수가 굉장히 많으니까.
이번에 신예들이 좀 들어오면서.
네, 그렇죠. 거기서 이제 소고기로 전원이 배부르게 먹으려면은 얼마나 나올지 기대를 한번 해보겠습니다.
네, 그렇습니다. 한 8등분에 한 토막은 다 잘라나가지 않을까 예상을 좀 해보는데요. 어쨌든 우리 낮은 옥규 선수를 응원하는 팬들이 지금 이 늦은 시간까지 함께하고 계십니다. 앞으로의 각오 한 말씀 그리고 팬들께 한 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다.
오늘 앰비션 선수랑 해서 원딜 1대1에서 졌는데 그래서 약간 실망하신 분들도 있겠는데 다음에 앰비션 선수랑 원딜로 쓰게 되면 그때는 그냥 압살할 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
네, 혹시 결승 때 먹을 그런 전략적인 카드 준비하신 거 있으십니까?
그냥 원딜로 다시 했으면 좋겠어요.
알겠습니다. 원딜로서 다시 한번 자존심 대결 멋진 선장 기대하도록 하겠습니다. 옥규 선수 고맙습니다.
네.
네, 감사합니다. 네, 안 하기로 했으면서. 자, 어쨌든 굉장히 유쾌한 자, 나진 옥규 선수와의 인터뷰 함께했습니다.
And that will do it for our player interview with OQ. And also for today's matches. So I do want to thank everybody for coming out and tuning into the Solo King round of 6. We're having the round of 4 semifinal matchup and the grand finals on the 8th, so you don't want to miss that. That's going to do it for us today. We've seen our final brackets up there, but I do want to thank once again Achilleos for joining me. Do you have any final words before we close out today's games?
Just congratulations to the winners. Sorry to the losers. Thank everybody. I thank everyone for watching and tuning in with us. I'm sure that the grand finals are going to be a hell of a time. I am a little bit envious of Rapid, since I will not be around for that. But thanks also to Azubu for having me on for this. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to the future and what other exciting tournaments might come forth from Korea.
Looking forward to it too, and of course, do want to give a quick honorable mention to Reapered, who was manning the casting desk today. Nice to see that guy back on the desk and back involved in League of Legends. So I'm actually going to take a break after this, and we'll be seeing you guys on the 8th. Make sure to follow the channel, support our charity Extra Life right down below, and come back and see us on the 8th for the semifinals and grand finals of the Solo King. It'll be Someday versus Ganked by Mom, and Ambition versus OQ. Then following that, we'll have the 3rd place match, and then the final best of 3 for our for the final game. So it's gonna be an awesome day of League of Legends 1v1 action, of course, broadcast here on Azubu TV. So I do want to thank Azubu for putting on this tournament, and of course everybody out there for watching. That is going to do it. So enjoy your evening, everyone, and we will see you all on the 8th.
Telling how you ready.
네.